President William Ruto is on a state visit in the U.S. This is a 4-day state visit, and this is actually the first visit from a Kenyan president in 2 decades, and it is the first from an African president in the last 16 years. You know, we expect that visit will bring out some good results. You know, we expect them to talk about health matters. We expect them to talk about security. We expect them to have a discussion on the creative economy, the digital technology and trade, and just economy in general, and looking at ways in which we can improve our investments, or rather ways in which people can see Kenya as a hub, you know, when it comes to investments. And Mike will be looking into that later on in the show. And then today being a Tuesday, it is definitely Health Tuesday. And we'll be having a conversation on dental health, particularly diagnosis and treatment of common dental diseases. And I will be joined by one Christine Kawera Mbuba, who is an oral health officer. You definitely want to tune in for that conversation later on at around 9 a.m. In the meantime, Mike is here. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Vivian, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you on board here on Good Morning Kenya. And as Vivian has said, the president is currently on a state visit in the United States, and I'll be taking a look into that in detail. We'll be looking at the various, the significance of this visit, the objectives, and the outcomes of the outcome of this visit. And I'll be having that conversation with one Sam Ireri, Ken Karanja, and Alphonse Chelimo, who will be joining me on a Zoom from the United States. In the meantime, Ray, the economy has grown by 1%. And the greatest contributor, according to KNBS, is agriculture. Give us the numbers, right?
Well, that's according to the economic survey released yesterday by KNBS.
Yes.
And it actually shows and puts it into context that the Kenya's economy expanded by a cool 5.6% in the preceding year, that is 2023. And rightfully put, Mike, yes, agriculture was one of the driving key sectors there.
Yes.
After it jumped back, or rather recorded a growth of 7% as a sector. However, also good statistics indicate that when it comes to jobs, it is the informal sector that contributed to an increase in jobs, with around 721 jobs created in the informal sector. Formal sector, on the other hand, just created 123,000 jobs. So we're going to be keeping tabs on what that particular report, has. And it's going to continue taking shape as we run up to the budget presentation. Remember, the finance bill of 2024, proposed that is, has put across proposed tax measures, especially that are really going to change the tax policy, and it is part of discourse. Current discourse there. I remember the public is also engaging in public participation as the National Committee Budget Committee runs us across the county, so you and I can submit our views either in person during the public participation, or even in writing, by the deadline there. And we hope to see that some of the issues that are going to be raised are going to be put into consideration. So, Mike, we have a detailed report looking at where the numbers are, where the jobs were created, as well as what dragged the economic growth in that particular year. Right now, we have Treasury has projected that the economy is going to grow at 5.5%. If you look at the statistics as per the report that was shared yesterday, it indicated 2023 there was a growth of 5.6% across the economy. But then National Treasury has opined that in this financial year, that is June 2024 to 2025, that's the financial year, but in 2024, we're expecting a growth of 5.5%, which is going to be a drop by 1%. And they have given their reasons as to why that is going to be so. So we are going to be keeping tabs as part of the business desk, Mike. So Mike and Vivian, it's good to be back. Now, that was just a quick summary of what was happening yesterday in the business circles that we are going to continue keeping tabs on. And we know that the president indeed is in the United States of America for a 4-day visit, and I'm sure you're going to be looking at the overall impact and what is likely to take center stage in this particular 4-day tour. And anyone who is on social media, we've seen those who have accompanied the president have already started hinting at what is going to be happening in his 4-day itinerary. We'll be keeping tabs on that. We have our crew in the States also just monitoring that particular state visit. So in the course of this particular show, we're not only going to be joined by our guests all the way from the United States, but also we're going to be looking at the overall impact that visit is going to have, especially on trade relations between Kenya and the United States. Matters of security too are likely to come up.
And also Kenya has played a significant role in the fight against terrorism, and we are going to look at how henceforth the US and Kenya relations can enhance the fight against terrorism. It's one of the things that Kenya and US have been very active in enhancing security cooperation between the two countries.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now let's bring it up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines in the last 12 hours, and we welcome your feedback. You can get us on our official handles. On X is at KBC Channel 1, on Facebook the same. My personal handle on X is at Ray Manyara. Give us that feedback and include where you're watching this particular broadcast from. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is appealing to the international partners to enhance the support for programs geared towards battling the adverse effects of climate change in the country. He spoke when he hosted the Common Board of Trustees for the Center for International Forestry Research and the International Center for Research in Agroforestry at his official residence in Karen. The Deputy President, that is, said that the government had scaled up responses to mitigate against adverse effects of climate change, like the current floods and drought that has been ravaging the parts of the country. Abdiaziz Hashim with the details.
Various parts of the country have been experiencing heavy downpour that has led to loss of lives and livelihood. The effects of climate change now are a concern for the current administration. The Deputy President is now calling on Kenya's trusted partners in the international community to lend a hand in mitigating the current crisis.
And the people of this great country have come to terms with reality is that climate change is real. And therefore, as a government, we have come up with a program to grow 15 billion trees by the year 2032.
And as we witness the devastating effects of the floods, we really stand with the Kenyan people during this difficult time of recovery, where they have suffered deaths, displacements, and suffering because of the catastrophe.
Speaking when he hosted the Common Board of Trustees of the Center for International Forestry Research and the International Center for Research in Agroforestry at his official residence in Karen, Nairobi, the DP said the ongoing program targeting 15 billion trees by 2032 will not only be greatly beneficial for Kenya, but also for the key allies.
Because much as we're asking Kenyans to grow trees, we need to encourage them by taking them to a direction that also has a benefit. The issues of avocado, macadamia, coffee, mangoes are issues that we need a lot of support.
In view of the government's commitment of 15 billion trees, we were talking, Excellency, about the right tree for the right purpose in the right place, and the real importance of growing trees and not just planting trees.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua also called on them to boost the restoration of the rivers in Nairobi, saying their input was critical in ensuring the success of the tree planting program.
I also want to appeal you support us in the restoration of Nairobi rivers. We have a program for the restoration of Nairobi River that is under very serious pollution, and we have a very serious program. And I think both C4 ICRAF and ICRAF Kenya can play a role to assist us.
Now, there's a new sheriff in town, and she happens to be the very first woman to serve at the helm of KBC since its inception. That is Kenya Broadcasting Corporation's new managing director, Agnes Kaleche, who assumed office on Monday after her appointment to the position last weekend. She's committed to work and cooperate with the KBC staff and management to achieve the best for the national broadcaster. She takes over from Paul Masharia, who served as the acting managing director.
The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation now has a substantive managing director after Agnes Kaleche Nguna assumed office on Monday, following her appointment to the position on Saturday last week. Speaking during the official handover at KBC, Ms. Kaleche, appointed to serve for 3 years, pledged to work with the staff and the management to improve the corporation's service delivery.
Our national broadcaster has the power to shape opinions, challenge social norms, and inspire positive change. Our responsibility is to serve our citizens, ensuring our content is accessible, relevant, and engaging for everyone, regardless of age, background, or location. It is an honor to lead this organization and contribute to its growth and impact.
At the same time, she committed to steer the broadcasting giant to greater heights.
I encourage you, the public, to engage with us, share your ideas, and hold us accountable. Your continued support and trust are essential to our success. We pledge to be transparent, accountable, and responsible in our operation, ensuring that our resources are utilized efficiently and effectively. Together, we can reemerge the role of KBC, ensuring that it remains a beacon of excellence, a champion of diversity, and a trusted companion for generations to come.
I am certain that her experience and leadership record in the Kenyan media industry will steer this giant corporation to greater heights. KBC possesses immense potential to be a market leader in Kenya's media sector, and I can certainly say it is in great hands.
As a board, we are really delighted that Agnes comes in at a time when there is huge opportunity in media, and particularly for the national broadcasting media, which in the face of all other issues that currently confront media, is the one most prepared and probably most qualified to survive and do well.
Her assumption to office marks a new dawn for the corporation, which since its inception has never had a woman in the position. Kaleche also succeeds former KBC Managing Director Dr. Naim Bilal, whose tenure ended in March 2022. Before her appointment, Kaleche served as Chief Operations Officer at Radio Africa Group and also as the chair of the Media Owners Association of Kenya. She becomes the 13th Managing Director at the Broadcasting House, which boasts of 2 television stations, 4 public service radio stations, and 11 public commercial radio stations.
Indeed, that's the new sheriff in town, and we are happy as the women folk, right? Being that she's the first managing director that the national broadcaster has had the pleasure, of having lead at the helm. We wish you all the best, and we're ready to work with you in our various capacities. Now, approximately 600 million people fall ill due to contaminated food, resulting into 420,000 deaths annually across the world. According to the Ministry of Health, food-borne diseases account for 40% of diarrhea cases reported in the country. The Ministry of Health is, however, expressing hope that the impending passing of the Food and Feed Bill will curb the disease burden.
This year's World Food Safety Day celebrations to be marked nationally on June 7th, the Ministry of Health is making a passionate appeal to Kenyans to practice safe handling of foods at home. Principal Secretary for Public Health Mary Muriuki says the government is keen to curb deaths resulting from consumption of contaminated foods.
In the world, every year, approximately 600 million people fall ill from food, contaminated food. And this translates to about 1 in 10 people globally experiencing foodborne diseases.
She says the Ministry of Health is currently lobbying Cabinet to pass the Food and Feed Bill, which will integrate operations in the food industry, including food inspection.
And we are very keen to have it passed and signed, because what is happening right now, there's a lot of disintegrated operation among the players, from development partners, private sector, the MDAs, the ministries.
The PS has also noted that community health promoters in the country will be expected to sensitize Kenyans on the importance of adhering to food safety regulations. Kenya will mark World Food Safety Day with various activities lined up from the 4th to 7th June under the theme Food Safety, Prepare for the Unexpected.
Ask the questions of where is my food coming from? How has it been grown? There is more to it than just the environment within which the food is being served, but are we able to trace what I am eating from farm to fork? And if we, as consumers, ask those hard questions, then the food operator will take more interest in ensuring that what is being served is safe.
And my appeal today is for the private sector in Kenya to support the food safety issue, to take responsibility, to ensure that the food safety for the Kenyan citizen is in place, that they are comfortable eating their food, but also because of economic growth.
Away from matters food, and we delve into matters of justice, where a police officer and a man posing as a Kenya Defence Forces officer and 2 others are accused persons who will know their fate on bond application tomorrow after the court deferred their ruling. Aziz Ali Keyokia is accused of neglecting his official duties and declining to surrender 14 rounds of ammunition to the armory, while his co-accused is accused of giving false information by forging documents and being in the possession of disciplined forces equipment. Here's Ruth Wamboi with the details in the Scales of Justice segment.
According to the prosecution, Ali Keyokia allegedly failed to surrender 3 tear gas canisters to armory as required by the NPS Act. Kofi Bill Atinda is accused of posing as an officer of the rank of a captain at KDF, thus preventing police officers from arresting and conducting a search on his vehicle. His personal driver and a businessman are accused of being in possession of equipment meant for disciplined forces, including radio calls and tear gas canisters.
He has never been charged in any court of law and will abide by whatever bail terms and conditions of this court may impose.
And the reason that has been advanced to that effect is that the details that have been given by the witnesses, the alleged witnesses who have not been disclosed, differ from the document that he has.
However, defense lawyers put up a spirited fight to secure their release, with prosecution urging the court to deny them bail or bond pending investigations.
22nd of this month at 9:30 a.m. in the morning.
On the same breath, the suspect, namely Judge Kojo Odera, has been charged for being in possession of 10 rounds of ammunition. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution told trial magistrate Robinson Ondeki that the accused had intended to use the firearm in a manner prejudicial to public order without a firearm certificate.
So there's a plea of not guilty. The case will be mentioned in court number 5 on the 3rd of June 2024. The accused may be released on a bond of 200,000 shillings plus one surety of the same amount, or a cash bail of 100,000 shillings.
Elsewhere, Milimani's Anti-Corruption Court Magistrate Celesa Okore has set July 17th as the pre-trial conference of 4 suspects in the 209 million shillings fake fertilizer scam matter. The prosecution told the court that the documentary evidence available was very bulky and needed more time to supply to the defense.
To politics, the United Democratic Alliance party has compelled ward-level elections in Narok County to halt until further notice. We'll be keeping tabs on what is happening. This is at the complete ward level elections in Narok County are now waiting a move by the sub-county level elections on the May 25th.
The United Democratic Alliance UDA party has completed ward-level elections successfully in Narok County. Speaking in Narok, the team led by Governor Patrick Ntutu praised the party National Election Board during the party primaries.
Nataka niwashukuru sana chama yetu ya UDA, hasa headquarters wakiongozwa na Chairman Maura wa National Election Board kwa kazi mzuri ambayo wamefanya. Ile mpangilio yote, zile gadgets ambazo zimekuja hapa zilikuja on time na tukaenda kupiga kura, hatuna malalamishi hata kidogo.
On her part, Woman Representative Rebecca Tonkei added that the party supporters approved in the concluded grassroots elections that the governor should be the chairperson of the UDA party at the county level.
Jinsi president wetu ni party leader, hivyo ndivyo hata katika county yetu president wetu ama chairman wetu atakuwa none other than Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu. Hakuna njia ambaye tungemleta, na hiyo ndio ilikuwa kizungumti kwa wananchi wa Narok County, tungemleta mbunge aje kuwa ndiye anatawala chama ati governor enda akae kama member.
Elsewhere, political advisor to the president, Karisa Nzai, has called on UDA political leaders in Mombasa County to keep their differences aside and work towards ensuring that the grassroots elections slated for June are peaceful. He noted that the party should serve as a good example for other political parties since it's the ruling party. He spoke during a meeting with UDA members from Jomvu constituency.
Tusivuke mipaka wakati tunapotafuta viti. Tunapaswa kukaa kuleta watu wote pamoja. Hakuna haja ya kutukana kiongozi anasimama anatukana mwenzake na anamtukana kwa mambo ambayo hamwezi kurudiana. Hapana, tunapaswa kuleta watu wote wa Mombasa pamoja. Tusitoe aibu zetu nje. Watu wakaona kana kwamba hatujielewi.
In Kilifi, leaders allied to the ruling UDA party have officially launched the exercise to register its members before the grassroots party leadership elections slated for August this year. Led by Abdurrahman Omar, who was a representative of Uganda Ward, who also intends to vie for Malindi parliamentary seat, the leaders say that they will ensure UDA party is popular so that it can have elected leaders in parliament.
Tumesema sisi kama viongozi tutafanya uchaguzi wa amani, wa upendo na umoja. Tuhakikisha chama chetu chaendelea mbele bila ubaguzi wala fitina.
So just a point of correction and clarification in regard to that matter is that UDA party elections, yes, went well, smoothly there, and now they proceed to the ward level where the elections are going to be taking place on May 25th. Now we cross over to the counties where a non-governmental organization, Mombasa Women Empowerment for Mental Treatment, has initiated a sensitization program at the Mogoka dens across all 30 wards in Mombasa County, aimed at educating the youth about the dangers of consuming Mogoka, which has become rampant in the county. Meanwhile, the Love Without Reason group, in collaboration with the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral and Research Hospital, has initiated a nationwide advocacy program aimed at providing treatment for children and adults with cleft lip. This and more stories in our county news roundup.
Speaking at the Mombasa Women Rehabilitation Center in Miritini, the chairperson of the NGO, Amina Abdallah, noted that they will partner with the county government so as to facilitate treatment and rehabilitation of Mogoka users in the county free of charge.
Tumejitolea wodi zote 30, tutakwenda kila maskani, tutahakisha kwamba wameweza kupata masomo.
Meanwhile, Calvin Amantas, a member of Love Without Reason group, in collaboration with Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, is advocating for treatment for children and adults with cleft lips.
Tukifanya medical camp venye tulifanya kwa county jirani wa Uganda, in every 100 children 17 of them wako na palate, lakini sasa wengi wakifichwa hautaweza kuwafikia, so tunajaribu kuenda tukiwaelimishanga ati hii ni ugonjwa inaweza tengenezwa.
JSS teachers from Nairobi, Kiambu and Tana River counties staged demonstrations at Thika town where they vowed not to go back to class until TSC employs them on permanent and pensionable terms.
Tumekuja hapa kuambia serikali na wananchi kwamba tunatafuta haki yetu, na haki yetu ni kupatiwa barua za P&B, alafu watupatie ile kitu tunaita compensation.
We are ready to go back to class as soon as tomorrow morning. Under one condition, we be confirmed and they issue us with P&P letters.
The government of Machakos has announced a 100% waiver on all outstanding penalties and interest accrued on unregistered land and properties.
Last week, we were able to issue 100% waiver on registration of new parcels and new plots. When I say registration of new parcels and plots, it's to mean that people across Machakos County who have acquired new parcels or plots.
Elsewhere, Patrick Awino, the Director of Children's Services in Homa Bay County, has expressed significant concerns about the resurgence of corporal punishment in schools, despite being outlawed in 2001 through a legal notice by the government.
Please, emulate using alternative methods of disciplining children. We understand children have been brought in different environments. Please kindly talk to them. Children are never talked to. Share with them so that they be able to air out the challenges they are going through.
Finally, Kakapel National Monument in Tesa North Busia County is one of Kenya's premier rock artworks in Kenya. The Director of Department of Tourism, Busia County, in Violeta Dumbi, says the department took the initiative to open up all tourist sites in the county that are hardly known by Kenyans to enable tourists visit the sites.
As a directorate and Department of Sports and Culture and Tourism is to publicize the unique and rich culture that we have in Busia. And the first tourism circuit we are starting off is at Kakapel.
To take a quick breather, we'll be back with what is happening in sports as well as business circles. Do not go away.
Are you a talented artist, or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
You and I are over. Because I am not the woman who will make you happy. I'm not that woman.
That if someday you finally understand that the one and only way for you to be happy is to be with me. Because I do love you, Fabiola.
With that document in my hands, I can expose him and his crimes in front of his family and the community. People will know that Olegario Montoya has everything here because of lies.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. But you see, my husband refused.
Prepare yourself, because Olegario will know who you are. I am not kidding, Malena.
You have to give me time to finally convince Olegario. Who are you talking to? And why convince my father?
And where's she?
She is a he, and he
is here.
What kind of a criminal do you think you are? A peddler?
Yeah, that's perfect. Kinyanjui, the drug smuggler.
But Kinyanjui, you are a crook, and it is not only one mistake. It is several. In fact, innumerable.
Cynthia, that is a Lily Ngundu one. In you what?
Welcome back. Now we speak matters business. Just to remind you that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Economic Survey of 2023 was already made public yesterday that indicated a growth in the economy of 5.6%, and one of the key drivers was an increase or rather growth of the agriculture sector. You can get your copy from their website. Download, read, know where the job opportunities are and areas of investments. And talking about investments is that the United Bank of Africa has earmarked $282 million for lending to small and medium enterprises over the next 3 years. Speaking during UBA's 75th anniversary, UBA Managing Director Mary Mulili highlighted that the crucial role SMEs are playing in driving economic development and job creation, underscoring the importance of providing them with adequate financial support.
Small and medium entrepreneurs face challenges accessing credit. To address these, United Bank of Africa has earmarked 37 billion shillings for financially supporting SMEs in Kenya in efforts to support entrepreneurship and the economy.
The line that you're looking at a group level is 6 billion. And for Kenya, what we have to push out in the next 3 years is $282 million. Again, also payment platforms. We have what we call the UBA Connect, where we facilitate businesses to be able to bank from one market to another.
Meanwhile, Deloitte East Africa Tax and Legal Lead Frederick Omondi is concerned about the proposed introduction of motor vehicle circulation tax and a 16% VAT on financial services in the Finance Bill 2024 that he says will increase the cost of accessing the services.
The burden of taxation is becoming, unbearable to some extent. And that is either leading, households to reduce their spending, or even businesses incurring greater costs and becoming less competitive.
And Kingdom Bank has opened its 21st branch in Kitale Town, Trans Nzoia County, in a strategic expansion aimed at enhancing financial inclusion and supporting the vibrant economic landscape of Kenya. Kingdom Bank Director Julius Etienne says the lender will focus on servicing local entrepreneurs, agribusiness investors and commercial farmers.
This is a farm, and we expect the farmers to make their savings in this bank. We will have all.
Finally, Kenya has improved 6 spots in the 2023-2024 Global Human Development Index ranking 146th of 193 countries.
We are comforted that in the case of Kenya, the Human Development Index value has moved up by almost 48% between 1990 and 2023. And I think that does give us pause for reflection.
Well, that puts a cap on Matters News this morning. Be sure to tune in and keep tabs on what is happening across the country, regionally and even globally in our subsequent bulletins. I leave you in the capable hands of Mike Megwe, my colleague, who is also going to be joined by our guest this morning from studio as well as from the United States of America, given that the president already is on a 4-day state visit there, and a couple of issues are likely to be discussed. Matters security, financing, as well as climate change. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. So do keep it right here. We welcome your feedback. Don't forget to get in touch with us on X at KBC Channel 1. I wish you a pleasant viewing and a great day ahead.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Megwe, and now from news we shift gears and talk about the president's visit to the United States. President Ruto is currently in the United States for a 4-day state visit. And to talk about this, I am joined by a pool of Kenyans who are in the diaspora and specifically who are in the US. I'll be talking to Sam Ireri, Alphonse Chelimo, Ken Karanja, and Professor Phyllis Rotich, who are joining me from the United States. And also we'll be talking about the significance of this visit. Let me start with Professor Phyllis. What is the significance of this visit to the United States? What does it mean for Kenya, for both Kenya and the United States?
Yes, good morning, and thank you so much for that question. This is a very significant visit to the U.S. It is actually the first visit by a Kenyan head of state in 2 decades, and the first by an African head of state since 2008. So this means a lot to Kenya as a country. This means a lot to us as Kenyans in diaspora. And this means a lot to the future of Kenya.
Yes.
So seeing that our president, and of course as diasporans, we're extremely happy because we have a president who has fulfilled one of our wishes, was establishing a Department of Diaspora Affairs.
Yes.
Which has been very helpful. I just came back from Kenya this morning. Actually, I had a delegation from Indiana University. And during our visit, we visited the Office of Diaspora Affairs, we visited the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and we even visited at breakfast with the First Lady. So that really means a lot because it has opened a lot of opportunities for us as a people and a lot of opportunities for us as a community of Kenyans.
Yes.
Like I said, you walk into this session and we all know each other. So that tells you how connected we are and how we work together as a community. You know, one of the president's speech, the things that he focused on today was uniting Kenya. You know, we already in diaspora are super united. We work together, we work very well together. So this speaks volumes, and this speaks very well for the rest of us.
Let me come to Sam Ireri, and maybe you could talk to us, Mr. Sam Ireri, on the objectives of this visit. What do you think are the objectives of Ruto's visit to the United States?
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us a chance to be on this show, to be able to connect with our fellow Kenyans.
Welcome.
Wherever we are, wherever they are. First and foremost, good morning. Good evening to all our fellow diasporans. I know it's kind of late on this end. We just wrapped up the diaspora, interactive meeting with the president. It was very interactive. The president actually was able to join Kenyans here in Atlanta today, and we discussed various issues. He was able to articulate. Actually, this is how I even look at it. He was able to articulate the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza government to the diasporans. And we even answered a lot of questions. I know right now, actually, the finance bill is on the table. We're talking a lot about finance bill. We were able to tackle those questions. One thing I think the diasporans, before I even answer your questions, is we were able to task the president and go toe-to-toe with the questions that we do believe majority of Kenyans are asking right now. And he could articulate and explain the reasoning of where we want to be as a country and as one people. As my fellow panelist, Professor Gerono, just said, that first and foremost was for us to understand that we need that unity as Kenyans. And not only that, one of the purposes of this visit is to ensure that the Kenyan and the U.S. relationship continues to deepen, continues to prosper. We know that the country, Kenya, where it is, strategically, we are one of the great partners of the United States. We have seen this happen. I also want to really thank the United States government and President Joe Biden, and especially when it comes to the Ambassador Meg, and the relations that she has forged. So one of the key things that's going on right now, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is in partnership with some chambers of commerce here in the United States. And the president is there to ensure that those businesses continue to prosper and partner together. We are also seeing that the U.S. government is very vested in the Kenyan economy. They want to make sure that they are key players in the Kenyan economy. They are key players when it comes to helping Kenya to continue to prosper, as well as ensuring that Kenya becomes part of the, we do have the AGOA, when it came to the AGOA agreements, and that AGOA agreements right now, we know that one of the key things that the president wants to address Congress and talk to Congress people is how to renew that AGOA agreement, because we know it's coming to an end here. It's going to help Kenya. The president is really supporting to ensure that the businesses in Kenya continue to prosper. Kenya is on the map. Kenya is at the forefront when it comes to Africa. So the key purpose of this is to ensure that our economy continues to stabilize, not by borrowing, not by putting us into debt, by actually forging partnership with businesses and ensuring that those businesses, Kenyan businesses and American businesses, work together in partnership and we all prosper. Thank you.
All right. Let me talk to Mr. Alphonse Chelimo, and I want you to talk to us about the investment opportunities that Kenya presents to the United States. Out of this state visit by the president to the U.S., what are the investment opportunities that the country presents to the United States? It seems like we have a challenge. Okay, it's back.
Yeah, no, my computer just updated from nowhere, so I'm back.
Well, if Professor Chelimo can take it up.
What was the question, and who is the
investment opportunities that Kenya presents to the United States?
Thank you very much. As you hear, my name is Alphonse Chelimo, and I am the chairman of the Kenya Trade Expansion Advisory. And I'm very happy to be on this show this morning. I want to say greetings to our Kenyans in Kenya. Good morning. And our diaspora, we want to say good evening, especially the ones in the United States. So we just wrapped up a very important engagement with His Excellency, the President. He arrived here. He was very tired, but he was still able to engage with our diaspora. He had a lot of business engagements in the morning. He went to CDC, and he also went to another engagement after that. So to answer your question, pretty much we do have some MOUs, as Mr. Ideri mentioned over there. One of the MOUs is with the Atlanta Black Chamber, and he has others that are supposed to be signed tomorrow with the OVC and also the National Black Chamber, and also the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. So this is a big deal. The president is coming to the United States pretty much to open the doors, to open the gates for Kenya, to tell the American companies that Kenya is ready for investments. Any American company which is ready to expand, they need to look at Kenya. You understand? And the president is very strategic, and he knows exactly that Kenya is an entry point to East and Central Africa, right? We know that the future population of the world in the year 2050, and the president knows exactly that. The population of the whole world in the year 2050, majority of the people will be living in Africa. The president knows that, and he's pitching that idea to the American companies like, hey, if you guys are strategizing yourself for the future, look, Kenya is ready. Kenya is ready. You come in through Kenya, you are able to enter everywhere within the East and Central Africa. So the president came with with the private companies, which came through the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, and also he came through the government parastatals, which are looking for strategic partnership. We know that the government is looking for partnership in maritime services. They're looking for partnership in terms of hospitality industry, like tourism, like those block hotels. We know that the government is looking for partnership, like, for example, in pipeline, Kenya Pipeline. All those companies that the president was thinking about doing a strategic partnership. The president here is the chief marketing agent of Kenya, and he knows exactly that. And he's doing a really good job. He has set up a very strong network with the Kenyan diaspora, like my team here, which I am the chair, the Kenya Trade Expansion. We are the ones who are the foot soldiers on the ground, knocking on the doors on some of these companies, making sure that we can start those conversations so that when the president comes, it's ready. So as I said again today, we facilitated an MOU that was signed with the Atlanta Black Chamber. Yes. And this is a beginning. And that's exactly where the president is coming. He's starting his engagement first in Atlanta. And we know Atlanta is the hub. Atlanta is the headquarters of fintech. When we talk about fintech, we're talking about financial technology. Almost 60% of world transactions for credit card happens here in Atlanta. Yeah, the president knows exactly that. He got his numbers right.
Yes.
And Atlanta is the headquarters of a lot of big companies, including Delta. The president knows exactly that, so that when he got the first state visit, the first state he decided to visit is Atlanta. And he knows exactly where he's trying to go. And CDC is the headquarters in Atlanta. So it's a very strategic move. He's going to finish here, and then he's going to head to Washington, D.C., where he's going to do what they call G2G partnership. But here is a B2B partnership. So I did hope I answered your question, but this is very exciting.
Yes.
We were here as the diaspora. We met him today. And there's an exhibition that I would like to just mention that started on Sunday, the 19th, and it's ongoing for Kenyan companies that are coming to do an exhibition here, reaching to American companies. And it's going to continue all the way until Friday. So this is really big. It's a big idea. And if you saw the stream on the media, it's splashed all over Atlanta, all over the U.S., that the Kenyan president is in Atlanta. And even the media was picking up the content from the venue where the president was here with the Kenyan diaspora. It was a huge hall. Kenyans were from all over the walks. This is a big deal. Thank you.
So still on you, Mr. Alphonse, I'd like to know, in the interest or in the context of attracting investment into the country, do you think the tax environment is favorable or is incentivizing enough to attract the right investments?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. But if you know, for those of us who stay in America, who have lived in America, I've been here since 2002. So we've been here for a while. Mm-hmm. And the tax that we pay in this country is nothing compared to what Kenyans pay back home. Mm-hmm. And the president knows that. And even mentioned it today actually in his speech. He actually said that let us not be afraid on paying taxes. If you guys know what we are paying in this country compared to what we are trying to raise in Kenya, mm-hmm. it's nothing comparable. We are used to this. And the taxes that the president mm-hmm. that is actually raising in Kenya is nothing compared to what we are paying in this country. Mm-hmm. There are different brackets here. Mm-hmm. So since it's really a lot, they do have different brackets in terms of taxing services. And Ireri is actually an expert on that. He's more of into financial sector, but it's nothing compared to Kenya. But the investors are coming for that big return on investment. And they know. Some of them are strategically looking at the 2050 future of the world, the ones who are placing themselves in the future market, mm-hmm. which is Africa. Entry is Kenya. Kenya has a lot of advantages that we probably don't know when we're back home. But once you are in the United States and then you look back into the continent of Africa, mm-hmm. you will see that Kenya is very fertile. It's very fertile for any outside investor. Whenever people look at the map of Africa, they want a place where it's stable. They want a place where the market is mature, whereby people can invest in the stock exchange, or they do when you invest in any manufacturing, there is protections from the government. Other places, there is no protection. And Kenya is very mature and is advanced. That's why you find other countries that are struggling. Everybody's trying to catch up to Kenya, but we are leaps and years away. The president is actually selling that. And companies know that. They do their homework before they even consider even anywhere. And Kenya, the MOUs that we signed today, And we do already have deals that will be announced tomorrow that my team was a witness, and we were able to facilitate. In terms of coffee, we do have a coffee partnership between a Kenyan company that actually came with the chamber, and they were able to close a deal with a roaster company, which is a big deal here in the southeast of Georgia of the United States, which is among the biggest roasting companies. So they're not afraid to invest, and they know exactly the return on investment. The Kenyan shilling is strong.
Thank you. Professor Jelimo, talk to us about why Kenya is so important to the United States.
I'm going to talk to you. Sorry. And I'm going to focus on two areas because my strength in this piece today is education and health. So Kenya is very important to the United States. The partnerships has been amazing. You know, we work very well together. The relationships are reciprocal. And I'll give you a good example. I'm just going to use two examples of things that we've done. We have one actually that will be featured tomorrow. One of our representatives will be there. We call it the academic model of providing access to healthcare. So this is a partnership that has existed for 35 years between Indiana University, Moore University, Moore Referral Hospital, and now it's expanding to 5 different countries. It has been used as a model that has worked very well. And the foundation was started by Indiana University. Again, like I said, we've been in that relationship for 35 years. We've impacted, the work that Indiana University has impacted over 30 million Kenyans in Western Kenya. We have built clinics, we bring in healthcare doctors to do their training and specialization. We have students who go to Kenya. We just came back from Kenya with a team of administrators. And our goal was, because our relationship has worked very well, because it has impacted lives in HIV treatment, in infectious diseases, healthcare, community health promoters, it has made a huge difference that Ghana is replicating the same model, Mexico, Philippines, and now we are expanding. We want to expand to other areas. So we came back this week to meet with the Ministry of Health, to meet with the Ministry of Education, and we went into the community because this is a model that has worked. And the reason why Indiana University was in Kenya and Eldoret this week was to reaffirm our commitment to the work that we're doing. So that relationship is very important because it is reciprocal. We in Indiana University benefit, or students benefit. Right now, we left many students who are in Kenya, nursing students, doctors. We have Indiana House in Eldoret. So that is an example of a model that has worked, and the relationships are ongoing. What do faculty members do? They write grants together through NIH funding. They publish together. They do research together. So I'm just giving you an example of a relationship that is long-lasting, and it has worked very well. So this is the area that we've done in academics, in healthcare, and we're extending. You know, we spent some time in Kapsoyo. We visited healthcare centers. We visited chamas. We visited women in healthcare. So we're expanding into the community. So that's just an example. We met with Ambassador Meg. And like I said, tomorrow, during the featuring tomorrow of the Spelman, the meeting of the Spelman, we have a representative from Indiana University, from Indiana School of Medicine, which is the largest medical school in the U.S. So we are continuing with these relationships because of the value they have in Kenya. Actually, right now, Indiana University, we have 9 campuses, and our 10th campus is Eldoret. So we look at our campus in Eldoret as our 10th campus. So this is just an example to say their relationships, this is an example, and these are relationships that are replicable and that can be replicated in trade, in industry. And my colleagues here, we are all here doing the same thing. So that relationship we have is a long-lasting, it's a trust, and we all of us benefit.
Thank you. I'll be joining you shortly. And for now, in studio, I'm joined by Honorable Mark Dingo, who is the MCA of Kwavonza in Lower Yatta. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
I would want to know your take on this state visit to the U.S. by President Ruto.
Thank you, Migwi. The state visit by our President, William Ruto, to United States of America is very important to the country of Kenya. One, because it's giving the U.S. president some faith in our president. And also, the visit is going to open some business opportunities for our country and for the American investors, because being the first visit for a sitting president in the last 15 years, it's giving our country a kind of a confidence in the president of William Ruto, because as we know, Kenya is strategically located in East Africa, and being a very important economy in southern Central Africa, America would want to have a good relationship with our country, Kenya.
Yes. Yeah. What does that speak to Kenya, or where does that place Kenya regionally?
The visit is also placing Kenya in a good position, because regionally, Kenya, being the largest economy in East Africa, is going to benefit more from the Americans in investment, and also it's going to benefit in terms of security, because as you know, Kenya is a big ally of America in security matters, because it's giving a lot of support to the Somali conflict.
Speaking of security, you have mentioned something. Kenya and US have cooperated in matters security. What do you see coming out of this visit in this aspect of security cooperation?
One thing I'm sure the Kenya government is going to get from the American government out of this visit is a lot of support in security matters. Because as you know, Kenya has been funding our troops who are in Somalia, and America coming in will give us some support, which is going to be of significance to our country, Kenya.
Speaking of matters security, the president is, or the country is set to send police to Haiti. So talk to us about how that. How that is significant in the context of this state visit by William Ruto to the United States.
Kenya is a very important country to the American country, and that being one of the things that the American people will want to benefit from the Kenyan government. It's something the Kenyan people will have to agree with, because when you look at the issue of the Haiti government, we've seen Kenya has given some support in terms of providing police to guard the people of Haiti, and I think Americans will be very much willing to support the Kenya government on the issue of the Haiti, because Kenya being one of the first country to send police to Haiti, I'm very sure the Americans would want to have a big support and be willing to give financial support to Kenya. And also, the issue of Haiti is also going to give us some confidence to the world that Kenya can chip in terms of conflicts to any part of the country in the world.
Yes. Let's now join Engineer Ndonga, who is the chairperson of Diaspora. And one of the things I'd want to ask you, Engineer, is one of the things that the President is talking about is matters to do with governance and anti-corruption efforts. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, the corruption is a cancer in Kenya, actually, that need a lot. It need a good willingness to fight it together. And the president have shown that he's willing to fight it. And the good example is the case of fertilizer. We know due to those fake fertilizer, all those people are waiting their day in court. So he mentioned that, and he emphasized that that's one of his targets, to reduce or to eliminate completely.
Yes. And also, I also want to know, what's your take on this state visit by President Ruto to the United States?
So this is something that we have been looking for, and it's a high-class one. So if I go to the side of technology, why he chose to start or touch down in Atlanta. This is a hub. It's the busiest airport in the world. And we know what we can make with a freight. We have a lot of Kenyans that along the south that connect with that airport. So a case like Kenya Airways, if we start operating from that airport, that will be economic gain for us.
Yes.
Also, the president emphasized on discussing about professional and unprofessional visas, and also the investment visas. Those one you know very well. I think it's 3 or 4. It's only 3 or 4 countries that have that. C1, C2 visas. Those are the things that can change even the youth, those who doesn't have a job, because like an agriculture that are working in the farm that doesn't need a professional, or the professional who can join an American company. So if they increase the number of those ones, because they're there, but they're very few. But the other country have the Cs, but Kenyans, we don't have Cs of the visas. Those are the things that will help us grow the economy. And also the United States need us because of our location, strategic position where we are positioned. So if you want to go to India, if you want to go to Asia, if you want to go to Europe, the shortest distance will be operating from Nairobi. And now the expansion of East Africa community. That one, checking on the population or the ready market, it's a big one. And the most stable country with a good economic or with a sign of a growth of economy is Kenya. So everybody who is looking for the future will be looking at the Kenya. And also the labor force. Kenya have the young labor force who are ready to innovate, who are very industrious. So every company will gain from Kenya, and the Kenya will gain in return.
Yes. And, another thing I would want to know from you, Engineer, is the president is set to visit Tyler Perry Studios. What does that mean for the creative economy in this country? Engineer? We seem to have lost Engineer Donge.
The Hollywood it's back in Atlanta. Most of the actors are now moving to Atlanta for some reason because of the tax. I think taxing in LA. So when you bring those guys, they have a big following on social media. If they happen to visit in Kenya or they happen to shoot a movie in Kenya, that one will expand the number of tourists going to Kenya. People will start developing that interest to know why Tyler Perry, why John Cena, why The Rock. It's heading to Kenya. This will be a very, very, very important marketing of our tourism, of our acting, and probably he's pushing on them starting a studio in Kenya or acting on the Kenya landscape. You know how much money this will bring to Kenya. And the Kenya too will be marketing to Kenya. This is the same thing as sponsoring. I'll take example as Rwanda sponsoring a jersey for Arsenal. So ours will not cost that much, but will be equivalent to that level of marketing.
Let me talk to Sam Ireri, and I'd want to know. I'd want you to talk to us about how the investments or the U.S. exports have evolved over the last decade.
All right, thank you very much for that question. That question is very important because One thing that I want to bring to perspective is the AGOA agreement. When you look at when the AGOA agreement was signed, and right now, actually, we're going to the expiration of the AGOA agreement, you see that countries that were meant to benefit, African countries that were meant to benefit from this, really did not take advantage of that. We look at good countries, for example, our neighboring country, Uganda. They were set to benefit from this. They never took full advantage of that. Right now, Kenya is sitting at a very strategic point whereby we have the right companies, the right labor force.
Yes.
We have actually the right minds. That's how I look at it. And the right education for our people that can be able to be put in specific sectors. I really want to even focus on one sector here, which is the textiles sector. When you look at that, majority of the companies that want to take advantage of that were not actually even growing the cotton that was supposed to be part of that agreement. Kenya right now is set to be to take advantage of that. One thing that the president is very clear is we want to put Kenya whereby we are able to take advantage of these things. We are able to show the value, because at the end of the day is the value. When you're talking to Fortune 500 companies, you want to show what value is it that they're going to get from Kenya. So we have positioned ourselves in that strategic point to show that value of Kenya. We have the right labor force, which I keep repeating and saying that is very key. The American, if we look at how the American population is right now, the baby boomers who are there, majority have retired, majority are retiring right now. That replacement is not there. By the time we get the Gen Zs to where the baby boomers were and how the culture of the baby boomers were, we are not there. But when you look at Kenya right now, we are the peak, actually the prime point of labor. Alphonse mentioned very well that in the next 20 to 30 years where Africa will be sitting to be the only continent that can be able to provide labor to the rest of the continents. Look at Japan. You look at their labor forces coming to an end. So we really want to take advantage of that. And there's one thing that I really wanted to talk about, because it's really paining me, and I know it's a big talk in Kenya right now. This is the issue of taxes. I truly do understand that majority of our Kenyans, yes, they do feel the burden of the taxes. But for America to be a superpower, if I take this great country, America, that we've lived in, for it to be a superpower, there was some key decisions that had to be made, especially by the founding fathers, of how they want to live. When they left the European the nations and came to this country, they were looking at to free themselves and to be able to exercise their freedom. And that is enshrined in the American Constitution, whereby we are able to go, the Americans are able to go ahead and govern themselves and be able to fund themselves. Taxes, I understand when you look at it from an angle of how you're feeling your paycheck, you're feeling your money is going to the government. In return, we want good services from the government. So the biggest check here is, when we are given these taxes, are we able to get the services that we do require? As Engineer Ndonga talked about corruption a little bit, we understand that, but we are seeing how our president is handling the issue of corruption. Kenyans have to understand this. Kenyans have to understand, in as much as we want to jump into an issue and come into judgment real quick, we also have to follow the due process. And that piece of following the due process is where majority of our Kenyans and majority of our people do not have the patience to do, but it is also the right thing to do. And I will handle the issue of these fertilizers right head on. I understand the CS was actually on the table for it. I understand how Kenyans were feeling about it, because we're just looking, we want results now. But at the same time, I want to vindicate the president, because we also have to follow the due process. We have a constitution for a reason, right? And that constitution clearly states that you are innocent until you're found guilty, but we have to have the right mechanisms in place and have the right things followed by law in place. So I know I kind of jumped back and forth with that, but I truly do understand. And I wanted Kenyans to understand from a diasporan's perspective, from how we feel as diaspora, is in as much as we understand some things are very painful, we have to follow the due process. Our president has shown that. He has shown that he does follow the Constitution. He believes in the Constitution that we have. And That is the key thing that makes us all equal as Kenyans. Thank you.
Professor Jelimo, I want to ask you this, and how does this impact the future of US-Kenya relations and also Africa-US relations henceforth?
So thank you again. Thank you very much. Mr. Ireri, that was a very good point. I appreciate you bringing up the issue about tax. But now, I think this is a new beginning, not just for Kenya, but for the whole of Africa. Remember that this is the first time that we have had a state visit by any African president over the last almost 20 years. I think the last one was like 17, 16 years, something like that. Which means this government in the United States understand that it is time to reset the button in terms of relationship with Africa. So this is a relationship, and they do understand that. Okay, we know that China is really pounding their feet in Africa, and America are very smart. They know that, and so they are looking for allies that they can work with. They know that there's a lot of changes in terms of world economy. There's a lot of things happening. Russia, everything is going around all over the world. So there's a little bit of reset. But the United States understand that we need to go back to the drawing board and bring our allies. So this is a new beginning. They're trying to reset the button, restart the relationship back with Africa. But they know where the relationship starts from. It's about the economy. They know that we have to sit back on the table, sit back with sober leadership, and this is the right time that Kenya is seizing the moment. We have the president who understands the world economy. He is right on his toes. And we understand that when he came last time to the African summit, with the African Presidential Summit, there was a lot of proclamations that they made during that time. Kenya was sitting on the front line on the table among all African presidents. We were there. I remember Ireri, you were also there. Engineer Ndongo, you were there. I think Cherono, you were also there. Kenya was sitting in the front line. You guys, you don't know because we were in Africa, but among all the leadership in the whole world, in Africa that were invited, Kenya was in the front line. And the president doesn't play. He knows his place in this table. He knows that we have to lead Africa. And that is why most of the thing is talking about climate change. It really reverberates around the whole world. It's not just leading Africa in terms of climate. He's actually leading the world in terms of where we need to go in terms of climate change. He's saying that if we have to make money, we have to make money in a way that does not affect the world, the future of the world. So the U.S. understands that this is an ally that we need to work with. Kenya, Engineer Ndonga mentioned that Kenya has a good English-speaking population, right? Our students are well educated. Most countries, they speak other different languages. When you go to West Africa, they speak French. They teach them in French. You go to other countries within East Africa, like Tanzania, they emphasize in Swahili, which is good. But you cannot compare the education system for Kenya with any other country within Africa. We work with these people. We get employed in these companies, all right? And we work. Whenever we go for interviews, we know. So Kenya is very, very fertile for the future. And America is an English-speaking country. They are looking for allies. If it was a country like China, China is looking for countries that they can work together in terms of partnership. But language, they don't put language to be a big deal. But for America, they want a country that is easy to train, to transition. And I remember Engineer Ndonga mentioned something about the Tyler Perry Studio.
Yes.
Tyler Perry Studio is a big deal. And I know we are just looking at people acting and bringing action to Africa, but the way the media and movie industry is going right now, it is software. People they generate movies and even action through software using AI. And if we can be, and the president is looking ahead to the future whereby we can have a very ready market for technology whereby our youth can be trained in these softwares that can generate movies within 6 months. It goes blockbuster. So it can be outsourced from America to Kenya, and they're able to work overtime like 3 months, and in 3 months the movie is out for production. So the president is looking at that. So marching or visiting Tyler Perry show So that is a very big difference.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Professor Phyllis, I want to finish with you, but I want you to talk about the expected outcome of the entire state visit by President William Ruto.
Well, I'm going to focus on my areas of expertise that I really love and I'm very excited. I'm really excited about the health investment, the health collaboration, and the fact that he's visiting the CDC. So the CDC is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and myself being in public health, being in one of the big 10 public health institutions, which is actually ranked number 38 in the nation. So the CDC serves as a national public health agency of the United States. It is actually the center's leading database, data-driven service organizations, everything about health. So I couldn't have thought of a better place for him to go than the CDC, and that is the headquarters in Atlanta. So as a health person in public health, in health, and just coming from Kenya, I'm hoping, and I'm almost sure that out of that, and we met with the CDC person in Nairobi, the center, before we left, I'm hoping that out of that, some strategic collaborations, some grants, some very high-level research and collaborations will come out of this. If not even, I know there's an agreement, that hopefully an agreement will come up, because that would really make a huge difference in the impact of our health as a nation. We know right now our healthcare, and as we all say, that a healthy person is a wealthy person. So if we can invest in our health, and the president focused on that today. He emphasized that in his speech, uniting Kenyans, reducing the cost of living, creating health, and really investing in healthcare. So I see us as having a breakthrough in our health, in terms of incorporating technology, in terms of incorporating data and research, and all the good things that we as Americans benefit from working with CDC. I've worked with grants from CDC, so I see our health being taken to the next level. Again, we had those great discussions with doctors, medical doctors, with MTRH, with the Minister for Health, Susan Nakumija, last week on Tuesday. So those are the kind of things that we had discussions, and now, like I said, our representative from Indiana, AMPAP, and Mori Faro, will be on that conversation tomorrow. And then my other one is the investing in education. So one of the things is to strengthen and to discuss the critical role of higher education. The president and his team are visiting Spelman College. For one, as a Black female, I am super excited because Spelman is a women's college. It's a Black institution that has trained high-level global leaders, that has brought through global leaders. Even when I think there's also going to be a conversation with Morehouse. Those are both historically Black institutions that if we collaborate with them and if we incorporate technology, and we had a conversation with P.S. Tanui last week about semiconductors and how we can incorporate technology into our world or into our health. So seeing those two intersections of health, education, and of course it intersects with everything, with the economy, with the trade, with all the things that I'm talking about, I really see this as an amazing trip. Amazing outcomes will come out of this. Breakthroughs will come out of that. So I'm super excited, like my colleagues have said. And we are all excited, and we all as diasporas, like he reminded us today, is to support him. He said, you can call me Sakai, call me whatever you do, but vote, pay your taxes, and participate. So we as diasporas, I can speak for myself, is I am super devoted. I love Kenya, I build Kenya, I market Kenya, I champion Kenya within the areas of expertise that I have. And if we all continue to do this, my colleagues here, amazing, Alphonse, Sam, Donga, we work very well together as a community, and I think this is what Kenya needs. So we support our president, we support his leadership, we thank him, and we will do whatever it takes to support all his initiatives.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making time to join us here on Good Morning Kenya to talk about the significance of the president's visit to the United States, owing to a visit an invite by the American President Joe Biden. And also, on a very light note, you people are on different time zones?
Yes.
So some ways. Is it a good night for some or a good day for all of you?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Let's come back here in studio and talk a little bit about some of the things that the president is looking to achieve. What do you see as, in your own assessment, what do you see as the major outcome of this visit?
Thank you, Migwi. I think the major outcome is basically is not going to be for the president himself, but I think the president is looking at how Kenya can benefit from the American investment, how Kenya can benefit from the American support, and that's why the president is so much interested in selling our country to the Americans, and he wants to reap more from the Americans. Yeah.
So in other words, we are going to see more investments going to the U.S. and investments coming into the country.
Yeah, very sure. Yeah, because if you look at most of these visits, whenever they happen to our president, normally they come with goodies. And one thing I'm sure the Kenyan government is going to get within these 4 days of visit is going to get some business deals. And some of the American investors, I'm very sure, will show some interest to the Kenya government because they want to. Americans are people who want to diversify their investments, and they also like to do business with countries where there is stability, where there is a country has some stability in terms of the economy, stability in terms of security. So I think the visit is a good. It's a good one for our country, and our country is going to benefit more from the visit.
Let's digress a little bit, and I want to pick your brain on something. Yesterday, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics released the economic survey report that indicated that Kenya grew marginally by 1%, that is 4.9% from in 2022 to 5.6% in 2023. What's your take on that?
The economy, I think, is an interesting thing because if you look at the figures, the economy grew from 4.9% to 5.7% there. Yes. And yes, the economy is growing, but if you look at the indicators down, the economy is not trickling down to the ordinary mwananchi. So I would say it's on paper, yes, the economy is growing, but still I think there is much to be done because we need to feel it down to the ordinary mwananchi.
So according to you, what needs to change so that the person at the bottom can feel this growth?
We need to do much on the ordinary mwananchi. One thing that can benefit the mwananchi down there is I think the government should invest more in agriculture. We need to do more because agriculture is one of the biggest things that can help in improving our economy. And looking at the survey, you'll find that yes, the economy is growing, but still the mwananchi down there is still burdened with the high taxes, and it requires a lot. The government should, I think, balance the taxes, so that we don't have so much tax on the ordinary mwananchi. At the same time, we need to have an economy where we don't rely so much on taxing the ordinary mwananchi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agriculture is one of the things that was said to have contributed greatly to this growth, and their contribution is to 19%. Does it mean that we have the right, we are on the right path in as far as agriculture is concerned?
Yes and no. Yes, because if you look at the agriculture, the agriculture issue, we've I think that one of the indicators that has made the economy to grow in agriculture is because of the season. We got at least enough rains, and if you look at the farmer, I think he's going to get some good produce. So that has produced that has helped much in improving our economy through agriculture. So I think we need to also to improve on the production, because it has all been in the news about the fertilizer. If we can improve much on the supply of the fertilizer and other support, I think the economy can grow much more, as we've seen. Because if you combine agriculture and tourism, then our economy will be good to go.
Yes. As we come to a close of this program, do you think economically we are on the right trajectory in your own assessment?
On my own assessment, I think economically we are trying, we are doing something. I can't say we are not, at least we are somewhere. But a lot needs to be done, because if you look at the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza government, they are dwelling too much on taxes. And you know, if you continue taxing people, increasing the taxes, you know, eventually you'll also have a problem with revenue collection, because if you tax people, it will affect our revenue collection. So I think for us to improve much on the economy, we need to be serious. And we need also to be accountable on whatever we collect. Because yes, we are collecting taxes. The president is too much, he's saying he wants to improve the economy through tax, as opposed to borrowing.
Yes.
Yeah, but taxing is not bad. Yes. But the problem has been, yes, you tax people, you get the money, but you don't. The money is not going to the right to the right use. You look at the kind of things we are hearing from the government. There is enough money from the housing levy. There is enough money from the tax we are collecting.
Yes.
But there is a lot of leakages.
Yes.
There is a lot of wastages.
Yes.
If we can control wastages and we control those leakages, things to do with corruption, I'm sure our economy is going to improve more and more.
There are a few things I would want you to talk to us about concerning the Finance Bill 2024, but we'll do that after this short break.
it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Whoa. You say it, but you don't mean it. You say it, but me don't believe it. Labda si wote wenda zimu, labda lana yetu pesa. Kesho kipoteza kila kitu, dunia mzima itakucheka.
And where's she?
She is a he, and he is here.
What kind of a criminal do you think you are? A peddler?
Yeah, that's perfect, eh? Kinyanjui, the drug smuggler.
But Kinyanjui, you are a crook, and it is not your only one mistake. It is several. In fact, innumerable.
Cynthia, that is the Lily Ngundu one. In you what?
Thank you for staying here with us here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike. We are talking about the finance bill, and also we had a conversation with Kenyans in diaspora concerning the president's visit to the United States. And in studio here, I'm having a conversation with Honorable Mark Dengo, who is the MCA of Kwavonza in Lower Yatta. I want to know from you, how can we strike a balance between taxation and still a case where government meets its target? In a case where Kenyans do not feel overburdened with tax, but still government collections through KRA meet the targets.
Thank you, Migwi.
Yes.
It's a good question. Yeah. I think the government needs to see the areas to tax.
Yes.
Because if you look at the current situation, the more tax is going to the common things used by the Mwananchi, the food, the bread. But I think as much as we want to raise taxes and to meet our targets, yeah, we need also to find other ways of meeting our targets. And one of the ways is to look at the things that do not affect the common Mwananchi. You look at things like if you go to Wilson Airport, you'll find there's so many choppers parked there. And the government can also think of how to tax those choppers. It can also think of how to tax the people who have better income. I think I support the tax where the government goes for people earning more than 200,000 and above. But if you go down to somebody who is earning 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000, I think that is where we have the problem, because those people are middle class and they are not. If you try to remove something from his salary, I think you'll be messing up those people. So I think as much as we want to meet our targets, let those who are advising the president see how they can balance, so that we don't burden the Mwananchi in taxation. Yeah.
The public participation is currently ongoing. Maybe have people in your area been given that chance to air their views on the Finance Bill 2024?
Yeah, I've seen the public participation going on, but I've not. It has not come to my area. I've not heard my people talk about it, though I've seen it in the media and in social media. But one thing I think I should say is for it to be a valid finance bill, let's take interest. Let's take into consideration the views of the mwananchi, because there is no need of going to public participation. You get views, and then after you get views, it goes to Parliament and the bill is passed. You remember what happened with the finance bill of 2023-2024? Yeah, there was a lot of opposition from the ordinary mwananchi. The bill went to the public participation, and 90% were opposed to the bill. They wanted things like the housing levy to be reduced from 3% to 1.5%. And what happened? Once it went to Parliament, the bill was passed without taking into consideration what was said by the ordinary mwananchi.
Which begs the questions: do the views of the public participants matter in all this? And also, are we going to see major amendments to the bill once it's in the floor of the House after the public participation, or are we going to see decisions made based on party alignments?
Yeah, it's a good question. You're asking whether the views of the public are taken into consideration, and I would say no, they are not taken. I think on my own opinion and my observation is that whatever is being done is for the public also. It's about PR.
Yes.
It's a formality so that you can pass the bill. Because if you listen to what the mwananchi are saying, the mwananchi will not even want to be taxed. Will not even want the bread to be taxed.
Yes.
But you know what will happen?
Yes.
The mwananchi will oppose the tax on bread.
Yes.
But once it comes to Parliament, the bill is going to be passed.
Yes.
And how it's going to be passed is going to be passed on party positions. Because as you look at the composition of the current Parliament, the Kenya Kwanza have an upper hand in terms of majority. So definitely the bill is going to pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mark Dingo, MCA of Kuavonza in Lower Yata, for joining us on Good Morning Kenya. Don't go too far. We are crossing over to Radio Taifa, where Rashid Mwamkondo is on standby to take you through the next segment.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba, asante sana mwenzangu upande wa pili wa studio. Naona leo umekuwa na wageni kutoka Indiana, Georgia. Inapendeza zaidi kuashiria kwamba rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya William Samoei Ruto siku yake ya kwanza ya ziara yake rasmi nchini Marekani, ambapo anaendeleza ziara hiyo, na tayari jana mambo yalikuwa mazuri. Alipata usaidizi wa shilingi bilioni 3 angalau kuweza kuimarisha gatuzi la Nairobi, ama mji mkuu wa Kenya, Nairobi. Lakini yote tisa, mtazamaji, kwa hivi sasa ni 2:09 saa za Afrika ya Mashariki. Kwa mara nyingine tena historia iliandikwa. Miaka 61 iliyopita hadi sasa shirika la utangazaji nchini linapata mwanamke kuwa mkurugenzi mkuu wa kwanza mwenye jinsia ya kike. Na jana alisema apewe muda. Karibu sana mkurugenzi, tunakupa muda. Hapa ni nyumbani, jihisi kwamba uko nyumbani, ama namna gani? Yote tisa, mtazamaji, kumbuka jana shirika la takwimu nchini la kitaifa, yani KNBS, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, ilitoa takwimu zake kuhusiana na uchumi wa taifa la Kenya ulivyokuwa mwaka wa 2023, na walielezea kwamba pato la kitaifa, yani GDP, nikitaja GDP wanamkumbuka mwenzangu Dora Manya, limeimarika zaidi. Tuyaache hayo, mtazamaji. Ni Jumanne nyingine tunapokutana hewani kupitia ushirikiano wa KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya na KBC Channel 1. ikiwa leo mada yetu asubuhi ni ripoti ya utafiti au takwimu wa kiuchumi iliyotolewa jana na idara ya takwimu nchini. Mtazamaji, ripoti hii ni ya kina na inaangazia hali ya sasa ya uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya, changamoto na fursa zilizopo, ili tusaidia kubainisha kuelewa mambo mbalimbali ya ripoti hiyo. Ndani ya studio tuko naye mchanganuzi wa masuala ya kiuchumi Bwana David Alulu. Ni ripoti ambayo niliona ina kurasa 500. Inataka makini kuisoma. Ni sawa tu na ule mswada wa fedha, ni mrefu, kwa hiyo inahitaji makini sana kuisoma. Lakini bila kupoteza nukta, sekunde wala dakika, mtazamaji, nichukue fursa hii kumkaribisha Bwana David Alulu ndani ya studio zetu. Karibu sana. Ni muda
nashukuru. Habari ya asubuhi.
Nzuri sana. Nilidhani pengine utakuwa kwenye ule msafara wa rais nchini Marekani.
Ndege iliniacha. Nilifika uwanjani kuchelewa na wote imeshaondoka. Sasa ikabidi nije tu hapa KBC tuone kwa runinga.
Ndio.
Yes.
Karibu sana, nafurahi kukuona ndugu yangu, tumepezana muda sana.
Shukrani.
Wanakuona tu kule kwingine.
Inabidi wakati mwingine unaweka mizizi mbali kwingi. Ndio upande mmoja ukilala vibaya utalala njaa.
Lakini kabla tuingie ndani kwenye ripoti hii, labda swali tu moja la haraka upesi. Wakenya wengi kwenye mitandao wamepaza sauti zao, wanauliza mbona rais wao katika ziara ya Marekani katumia ndege ya kibinafsi ambayo inamgharimu mtozo wa ushuru shilingi milioni 200 wakati tuna ndege za kijeshi, tuna ndege za shirika letu.
Wajua wakati unaenda kwa sherehe ya tajiri, hata kama una suti unatafuta ile nzuri zaidi.
Ndiyo.
Na mara nyingi utajikuta unakopa ama unaazima kwa rafiki yako ambaye akona nzuri itakayo kupatia hadhi ya ile sherehe ambayo umealikwa. So nataka kufikiria labda kwa njia moja au nyingine, kwa sababu rais amealikwa kwa ile taifa, haendi tu kutembea kama jinsi huo anaenda kila wakati. Amealikwa kwa heshima rasmi. Official state visit. Na wajua Marekani sio nchi ya ile ya kila mtu ambaye anaitwa state visit. Sio kama Zimbabwe na mataifa mengine. Kwa hivyo nadhani kwa njia moja au nyingine, kwa sababu ya usalama wake na pia heshima zake za kiwango ambacho hako ni haki yake, na sababu anatumikia nchi yetu, ni vile nasi tujivunia kwamba rais wetu ameweza kuwasili kama kiongozi wa nchi tajiri. Kenya ni taifa tajiri sana.
Ndiyo. Kwa hiyo inaonyesha pia uchumi umeimarika.
Uchumi utajuaje? Hata kwa nyumba ya mtu utajua mtu uchumi wake umeimarika jinsi anavyovaa, jinsi watoto wake na mke wake wanaovaa, jinsi anavyokula. Mtu hawezi ukasema ni tajiri na watoto wake wanavaa nguo zimeraruka, ama anaishi kwa nyumba ambayo inataka kuanguka. Kwa hivyo ni dalili kwamba uchumi wetu unaimarika. Kama tunaweza afford kulipa milioni 200 na zaidi kwa safari ya siku 4, ndugu yangu, sisi ni matajiri.
Matajiri
kabisa.
Haya, mtazamaji, ilikuwa ni kugusagusa tu, lakini sasa moja kwa moja tuingie kwenye mjadala wetu. Na kama ulikuwa makini mtazamaji, hapo jana KNBS iliweza kutoa ripoti yake ya takwimu na ilionyesha mambo mbalimbali. Kwa kiasi kikubwa ripoti ile inaonyesha ukuaji wa Kenya katika sekta mbalimbali mtazamaji, na changamoto chungu nzima. Pato la kitaifa wenyewe wanaita kwamba GDP ya Kenya kwa sasa mtazamaji, inasemekana kwamba imekuwa kutoka 5.3 mwaka wa 2019 hadi 5.6 mwaka wa 2026. Vile vile pia mtazamaji, ukiangalia ripoti hiyo inaonyesha kwamba ile sekta isiyo rasmi imeweza kukua, huku ikirekodi 85% ya ukuaji wa mwaka wa 2023. Vile vile pia mtazamaji, ripoti hii inaashiria kwamba uchumi wa Kenya umekuwa kutokana na mvua ambayo ilinyesha, kupelekea kilimo ama ukulima, mazao yetu kuweza kwenda juu mtazamaji. Vile vile pia ripoti hii ambayo ilitolewa jana mtazamaji inaonyesha kwamba kiwango cha uhalifu nchini Kenya kimeongezeka kwa 19%, na wengi wanasema kwamba Wakenya wengi wanajipiga kutafuta chakula cha kila siku mtazamaji. Vile vile pia ni ripoti ambayo inaonyesha kwamba elimu yetu kutoka shule za chekechea hadi vyuo vikuu imeweza kuimarika mtazamaji. Mafunzo vile vile pia imeweza kuimarika. Vile vile pia inaonyesha katika swala zima la afya jinsi mambo yalivyoimarika, kwamba serikali kuu imetumia viwango vikubwa vya pesa kuimarisha sekta ya afya. Sekta nyingine mtazamaji ambayo vile vile pia zimeweza kuimarika kama nilivyokuambia ni sekta ya kilimo, misitu na vile vile pia sekta ya uvuvi. Sekta nyingine vile vile ambayo imeweza kuimarika Afrika ni sekta ya utalii, mtazamaji, ambayo wanasema kwamba utalii ikichanganyikana na kilimo imeweza kufanya uchumi wa Kenya ukawa juu. Tutakuwa na kudokolea na kuchambulia kadiri tunavyoendelea, lakini bila kupoteza nukta, sekunde wala dakika, Bwana David Alulu, je, unaweza kutupatia muktasari wa ripoti ya hali uchumi iliyotolewa jana na idara ya KNBS kiufupi tu?
Idara ya KNBS nadhani inazungumzia hasa jinsi ambavyo wanatathmini ama wanapata ufahamu kulingana na viwango vya watu wala ambao wanazungumzia hasa kwa taifa la Kenya. Tuzungumzie the working class, the business community. Kwa hivyo tukirate kwa hiyo kiwango na maybe the urban dwellers, kwa sababu changamoto ambayo tumepatana nayo siku za hivi karibuni, utapata kwamba mashirika yanayofanya utafiti mara nyingi yana concentrate sana maeneo ya urban as opposed kwa yale ya rural. Maeneo ya mashinani, mara nyingi ukiwauliza watu, actually ukienda na hii report mashinani waulize mnasemaje kuhusu hii report, watu wengi watakwambia hatuelewi hata inamaanisha nini, kwa sababu hawajapata ufahamu wake ni upi. So gharama ya maisha ama GDP yetu imepanda kulingana na ripoti ambazo zinasomwa na zimewekwa na serikali inazungumzia, ndio. Lakini yule mwananchi wa kawaida ukimuuliza swali kwamba unahisi uchumi uko vizuri, jambo la kwanza anakuambia hakuna kitu kama hiyo, kwa sababu Wakenya tumekuwa kwenye kile kiwango cha kuweza kuangalia zile changamoto ambazo tumekutana nazo kama nchi. Ushuru, sasa nimekuwa nikisikia watu wanazungumzia sana ushuru wa mkate na blue band na vitu zingine kama hizo. Kwa hivyo unakuta kwamba changamoto zipo, licha ya kuwa ripoti hii inatusaidia kuelewa jinsi ambavyo performance ya economy yetu inaendelea, lakini kwa kiwango kikubwa utapata kwamba ripoti hii inaangazia sana maoni ya watu ambao wako mijini, ambao wako well informed, as opposed kwa watu ambao wako mashinani ambao hawana taarifa kamili, wala ambao wanategemea tu vyombo vya habari kama hii ambayo tunatumia sasa hivi kuweza kupata habari, lakini zaidi ya hapo wanapata habari kwa njia ipi? Ndiposa mara nyingi nimezungumzia nadhani mashirika kama haya wakati ambayo yanapanga kuleta ripoti kama hii, ni vizuri pia wapate muda wa kutosha na watu wote hasa wale walioko mashinani waweze kuelewa tunapozungumzia uchumi kuimarika ni vitu aina gani mnafaa muangalie, kwa sababu mtu wa kawaida yeye anataka ukimwambia gharama ya maisha imefika kiwango ambayo tunazungumzia GDP yetu imepanda to that extent, yeye anatarajia utamwambia sasa sukari imeanguka bei, unga imeanguka bei, mafuta ya kupika imeanguka bei, yani vitu ambazo mtu wa kawaida ana consume on daily basis. Lakini mambo mengine ambayo utazungumzia investment, return on investment and all this, watu wengi hawaelewi kule mashinani. Ndio inatatiza taifa la Kenya, kwa sababu taifa linazungumzia mambo makubwa, lakini wananchi wenyewe hawaelewi haya mambo ambayo taifa inazungumzia. Na iwapo tutataka taifa letu liendelee na tuweze kuwa kuonboard kila mtu, kuna umuhimu wa taifa la Kenya na mashirika yote ambayo yanahusika kwa njia kama hii kuweza kuimplement kitu ambayo tunaita civic education. Watu waelimishwe. Sasa hivi tunazungumzia finance bill, ambapo kile kitu tu wanasiasa wanafanya sasa hivi ni wale wanaunga serikali kuenda kuzungumzia ushuru wa finance bill, wale wanapiga serikali kuweza kuzungumzia ushuru ambaye serikali imeweka. Lakini zaidi ya hapo, hata tunapozungumzia public participation, to what extent watu wanahusika kiwango kipi? So utagundua kwamba tatizo kubwa ambalo tunakosa kama taifa ni kuelimisha watu, kuweza kuwa na ufahamu na watu kuweza kujua ni nini hasa wanafaa kuelewa kwenye jambo kama hili. Dakika moja tu, nimebahatika juzi nikatembea taifa la Afrika Kusini. Na jambo limejifunza kule, wale watu wamepata ufahamu wa vitu vingi. Eti unapomzungumzia mtu, yeye tayari anaelewa haki zake zinaanzia wapi na zinafika wapi. Na ni wapi anaweza enda kupata huduma ipi, ni wapi ambao sio rahisi uweze kumweka ule mtu kwamba unamweka kwa njia za kumtapeli, kwa sababu serikali imefanya uwazi mambo kiwango kwamba mtu akitaka kitambulisho na passport anaenda kwa ofisi ya serikali anajiregister bila kulipa chochote. So kuna vitu ambavyo taifa yafaa ishughulikie ili wananchi unapozungumzia kwamba uchumi imekuwa, Hawezi ukaniambia uchumi umekuwa na at the same time unapandisha gharama ya vitu vya kawaida ambavyo nataka kuconsume kama mtu wa kawaida. Vitu ambavyo na consume kama mtu wa kawaida, kwa mfano ni kitambulisho cha kitaifa. Wakati ambapo mtoto wangu anafikisha umri wa miaka 18, yafaa aende achukue kitambulisho. Wewe ukipandisha bei kutoka kwa shilingi 50 kufikisha 300, tayari unanifinya mimi mtu wa kawaida. 300 nitapata wapi? Kuna mtu ambaye ndio apate 300 amefanya kibarua wiki mzima. Na amejinyima, hajakunywa chai, hajakula mkate, anakula ugali na kunde, alafu yenye hajakaangwa. So gharama ya maisha na uchumi kuendelea itadhihirika tu wakati ambapo watu wanaufahamu. Lakini kwa sasa hivi ukweli ni kwamba ukizungumza na Wakenya wengi watakwambia hawaelewi ni kusema nini. Ndio changamoto tuko nayo.
Nadhani Bwana David Alulu ni kama ulisoma akili yangu na Dora Manya, kwa sababu tukifungua kipindi tu leo asubuhi tumezungumzia kuhusiana na swala ambalo umelizungumzia hapa. Ni kwamba umeliweka vizuri, taifa linazungumzia mambo makubwa, lakini yule mlengo ambaye ni mwananchi Wanjiku wa kawaida haelewi. Na umesema vizuri, hii ripoti sawa tu na mswada wa kifedha wa mwaka 2024. Leo hii tuupeleke kule Huisero, tuupeleke kule kwetu Matuga kule chini. Watu hawaelewi. Na tukalizungumzia pia asubuhi tukasema kwamba vitu vingi nchini Kenya vinafanyika ni kama vimeekezwa kwa elite class, watu wa daraja fulani. Sasa Bwana Alulu, going forward tunafaa kufanya vipi? Kwa sababu hapa mlengwa ni huyu ambao umesema kwamba bidhaa anazonunua vitu vya kawaida kwake amepandishiwa. Atahisi vipi uchumi wa taifa lake umeimarika?
Nadhani kama taifa tunaugua ugonjwa ya kupenda siasa sana. Kupenda siasa kiwango kwamba tunaona siasa kwa kila jambo. Lakini iwapo serikali ingepata kuweka mikakati kwamba kuna wakati wa siasa na kuna wakati wa kujenga nchi, kiwango kwamba ujumbe ambao tunafikishia wananchi usiwe tu ni ujumbe wa kisiasa, Azimio, Kenya Kwanza na vituko zote zile ambazo zimekuwa zikifanyika. Ati wakati tunapomaliza uchaguzi kwa mfano, serikali inaweka mikakati. Kila mswada ambao unafaa kufanyika ama kuhitimizwa kwa taifa, watu wafanyiwe civic education. Tuwe na pesa za kutosha ambazo zinawekezwa kwa ile hali ya kuweza kuwafunza na kuelimisha wananchi ambao ndio the owners of the country. Unajua ni hatia mwenye mali hajui ana mali kiwango kipi, na mfanyikazi wake anajua access ya kila kitu. Yani wewe ni billionaire lakini hauna habari kwamba wewe ni billionaire. Alafu mfanyikazi wako ndio ana benefit sana. Hilo ndio changamoto ama syndrome ambayo tunaugua nayo kama taifa. Kwa hivyo moving forward, jambo ambalo nadhani lahitajika kufanyika kwa taifa la Kenya ni serikali irudi nyuma, ijiulize maswali kadhaa. Swali la kwanza, watu ambao tunawahudumia wanaelewa tunachokifanya ama sisi tunawachanganya? Kwa sababu it is very wrong kwamba watu wategemee tu ripoti kama hii ikitoka baada ya mwaka mmoja ndio wajue nini kinachoendelea, ama wakati ambapo budget itaenda kusoma bungeni ndio watu waanze kujua nini ambaye kitafanyika. Nilikuwa nafikiria jana jioni nikatafakari, nikaona kiwango ambacho kumekuwa na sort of conversation around finance bill imeanza kusaidia watu kwanza kujaribu kujiuliza finance bill ndio nini. Lakini sasa unaona mtu wa kawaida kama ulivyosema, document ya more than 500 pages. Mtu wa kawaida ambaye labda average education yake ni class 8 ama hata kumaliza class 8, wakati unamwambia soma finance bill, huyu mtu ni kama unamtusi, kwa sababu haelewi unamwambia nini. Yeye anataka kujua nini hasa kinanihusu mimi. Kama mimi ni mkulima, nataka kujua mazingira ya kilimo yataweza kuimarishwa kiwango hiki kwa njia ipi. Tumekuwa na skando ya fertilizer. Nataka kujua kama mkulima, hii fertilizer mbovu nilipewa ikaniadhiri, ni nini ambacho serikali inakusudia kufanya kuweza kunifidia mwanzo, alafu pili kunisaidia. Tumekuwa na janga la mafuriko, kunisaidia kwamba tunapoondoka kwenye msimu huu wa mafuriko, moving forward, what is the way forward? Tunaenda kilimo cha kunyunyizia ama tunaenda kilimo cha kufanya namna gani, so that mkulima anayetarajia ama tegemea sana kilimo aweze kuwa na ufahamu kwamba nikienda mahali fulani nitapata kitu ambacho kinaitwa information, kuwe na information centers. Serikali implement information centers on specific items, kwamba mimi nikitaka kujua kwa mfano gharama ya mbolea na gharama ya kilimo kwa taifa la Kenya mwaka huu tutakuwa namna gani, nikienda kwa ofisi fulani nitaweza kuelimishwa, nipate ufahamu na nijue moving forward. Kwa hivyo jambo kubwa ambalo tunahitaji kama nchi sasa hivi, nadhani serikali yafaa kuinvest sana kwa civic education. Pili, serikali iweze kuempower the wale wafanyikazi wa serikali ambao wanafanya kazi mashinani, wapewe resources, wapewe empowered, wawafikie wananchi. Tutoe kwa taifa ambalo watu wamezoea kwamba unafika ofisi, unatoa koti, unahang pale, unaenda kufanya shughuli zako, jioni unakuja unachukua koti lako unaenda nyumbani. Tuhakikisha kwamba kila mtu ambaye yuko kazini anajua kazi yake ni ipi, anawasaidiaje wateja wake ambao ni wananchi, na mwananchi ako na haki ya kwenda kuuliza maswali na ajibiwe, ili aweze kujua kwamba kufahamu taifa lake na kuweza kujua kwamba nikifanya hivi ninajenga nchi yangu na nikifanya hivi ninabomoa nchi yangu. Lakini sasa hivi jinsi tulivyo, Wakenya wameachwa kama watoto mayatima ambapo hawana mwelekezi, hawana msaidizi. Chochote kile ambacho kinafanywa kwa manufaa ya viongozi wakuu. Baada ya miaka 5 watakuja na pesa ambazo labda wameweza kupora kwa kofa za serikali. Waenda wapatie wananchi 200, 300, 500, wapige kura tena, waendelee na zile vituko na sarakasi. Kwa hivyo tunahitaji more of civic education. Na Wakenya waelimike, wajue kwamba ni haki yao kuweza kupata information. Wakati ripoti kama hii inatolewa na kuna mjadala kama hii ambayo tunafanya, waweze kufuatilia na kuzingatia, kuweza kujua mawili au matatu ambayo yatasaidia mtu kuweza kufahamu ni nini ambacho kinaendelea. Kwa mfano tukisema GDP imepanda, tunamaanisha nini? Tunamaanisha tu kwamba kuna pesa mingi kwa serikali, ama tunamaanisha mafuta imeshuka bei, ama nini hasa kinaendelea? Watu waweze kuelimishwa, waweze kuelewa, na sababu kuna pesa hizo civic education, lakini mara nyingi serikali itafanya ile mchezo kidogo ya kuita watu 5 kaa hapa, saini karatasi, tumemaliza, tumeandika report, tulifanya public participation. Mwisho wa siku public participation, uliza watu, wewe uliketi na nani akakusaidia? Sikusikia, nilisikia tu sijui kunaenda kufanyika, but nothing happened. We need to get serious. The government inafaa ikuwe serious kusaidia wananchi wake. Bure tutabaki matajiri kwa mawazo, lakini in real life sisi ni maskini wa kupindukia.
Tutakuwa kama Arsenal, tumatajiri kwa mawazo lakini maskini.
Wacha kuongea vibaya kuhusu Arsenal tafadhali. Wewe usikuwe kama mtu wa Manchester United.
Sasa Bwana Lulu, kama tulivyosema kwamba hii ripoti ni kubwa na tutajaribu kuiangalia bit by bit. Tuangalie swala la elimu na mafunzo. Na hii ripoti inasema kwamba pre-primary kidogo kulikuwa kuna increase ya 2.0%, na vile vile pia elimu ya sekondari iliweza kukua kwa 4.8%, lakini elimu ya msingi ikaweza kwenda chini ukikompea na mwaka uliopita. Na vile vile pia taasisi hizi za juu ama za masomo ya kiufundi TVET, vile vile pia elimu yake imeweza kupanda juu, na vile vile pia elimu ya vyuo vikuu imeweza kuongezeka kwa 2.9% au ukilinganisha na mwaka uliopita. Na vile vile pia wanasema kwamba nambari ya walimu walioajiriwa katika shule za msingi imekwenda chini kutoka walimu 221,510 hadi walimu 219,727. Na vile vile pia wanasema kwamba walimu katika shule za umma za upili na vile vile training college imeweza kuongezeka. Vile vile pia wamesema kwamba mikopo hii ya HELB imeweza kuenda juu kwa 30% kutoka mwaka uliopita. Na vile vile pia wamezungumzia kuhusiana na masuala ya capitation, wamesema wameitriple mara 3 zaidi. Lakini yote 9, Bwana Alulu, wanasema kwamba utafiti umeonyesha idadi ya wanafunzi wanaojiunga na shule za upili imeongezeka. Labda kwa yule mtu wa kawaida anajiuliza, je, ongezeko hili linachangia vipi growth ya ekonomi yetu?
Wakati wote ule ambapo tunakuwa na community ambayo imeelimishwa ama imeelimika, watu wanakuwa empowered kwa sababu watu wanaweza pata information first hand. Jambo moja ambalo Kenya inaheshimika kwalo sana ukitembea around the world, wanasema Kenya iko sana kwa social platforms. Kenyans wanaweza kujenga na kubomoa kupitia mitandao. So access to information ina benefit mtu ambaye tayari ako na ufahamu kidogo kulingana na mambo ya kusoma, labda na kuandika pia. So hili linachangia kwa njia ipi? Number 1, nakumbuka sisi tukiwa wadogo sana tukienda shuleni tulikuwa tunaimbishwa wimbo kwamba elimu ndio ufunguo wa baraka wa mafanikio maishani. So nadhani Kenya ni taifa moja ambalo wazazi wengi ama watu wengi wamegundua kwamba kuna umuhimu wa kutaka kuwa na qualifications ambazo zitakusaidia kuachieve vitu kadhaa kwenye nchi. Kwa hivyo access to education, nadhani tumekuwa na changamoto kidogo miaka hizi mbili za serikali ya Kenya Kwanza kwa sababu ufadhili imekuwa na changamoto. Nimeona wakisema help ime increase. Of course wale wanaenda vyuo vikuu wanaweza ku access help, lakini sasa wale wanaenda secondary hawana mahali pa ku access help na inakuwa ni changamoto kidogo. Lakini tamaa ya watu ama watu kutaka kusoma imekuwa juu sana. Hata watu wazima ambao wanajaribu kutafuta vyeti vya form 4 wanaenda zile shule za Gumbaru, wamekuwa ni wengi sana kwa sababu watu wameelewa kuna umuhimu wa kutaka kukuwa na elimu na kuweza kuelewa jambo wewe mwenyewe bila kuambiwa na kusomewa na mtu mwingine. Nataka usome na upate kufahamu kiundani. Kwa hivyo elimu inachangia kuweza kujenga uchumi kwa sababu tuzungumzie kilimo biashara. Nimekutana na vijana kadhaa, nafanya na shirika lisilo la kiserikali, na nimekutana na vijana kadhaa ambao wamekuwa na nia ama hamu ya kuweza kujifunza mambo kadha wa kadha kwa kilimo biashara. Kwa hivyo unakuta yule mtu ana hamu, na kwa sababu nina hamu ya kuweza kujua vitu, nataka kufanya on research ya vitu fulani. Na sasa research itapatikanaje wakati sielewi hata research ndio kusema. Kwa hivyo elimu ni chanzo cha kila mtu kuweza kufahamu kwamba nchi ambayo ina watu wamesoma ni rahisi sana kuweza kuendelea as opposed kwa nchi ambayo iko na watu ambao hawajasoma. Kwa hivyo maendeleo ya taifa, kukua kwa uchumi, kuweza kuleta innovative ideas ambazo zitatusaidia kama taifa kuprogress, inakuja wakati ambapo tuko na watu ambao wana akili zao kibinafsi za kusoma na kujifunza, alafu na nia ya kutaka kujua. Kwa hivyo it is a positive report kuonesha kwamba wanaojiunga na vyuo hata kuanzia shule za chekechea kuendelea, inamaanisha kwamba wazazi sasa hivi wana hamu ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba watoto wao wako liberated to an extent kwamba watakuwa na uhuru wa kujifanyia maamuzi yao, watakuwa na uhuru wa kuweza kuelewa habari na kuweza kuzichambua, and then moving forward maybe sasa wale watu ambao wanaenda shuleni wajifunze nao kuhakikisha kwamba hawatafuti tu information za Raila alienda wapi, Kalonzo akasemaje, Ruto amesema nini, ila sasa tuingie ndani kidogo, tuanze kutafuta information ambazo ni za manufaa kwa ajili ya ukuaji wa kiuchumi wetu kibinafsi, kwa sababu tukijikuza kiuchumi, iwapo nitazafanya biashara ya kilimo biashara, nikuwe nafuga kuku wanao niletea shilingi 50,000 kila mwezi, ama nafanya kilimo cha kulima mboga ambazo nauza inaletea 30,000 kila mwezi, tayari nimejikuza kibinafsi. Na by extension, sababu ninapouza nalipa ushuru kwa serikali, basi naongeza pia ukuaji wa uchumi kwa taifa langu. So uchumi wa nchi kuweza kukua, watu ambao wameelimika watajua kwamba ninapofanya kazi kujibidisha nipate malipo, pia najenga uchumi wa taifa langu kuweza kugrow. Number 3, watu ambao wamesoma ni rahisi kuelewa kwamba tunaposema tulipe ushuru tujitegemee, maana yake ndio kusema nini. Kwa sababu mtu ambaye hajasoma, ni rahisi sana ukienda mashinani sasa hivi ukae na watu waambie, unajua hizi pesa za ushuru ambazo mnatoa zote zimeibwa na mtu mmoja ameenda nazo, na watu wakubali kwa sababu hawana access to information. Lakini wakati ambapo watu wanaweza independently verify the information and the reports that are being shared, then inamaanisha wale watu watakuwa wamekomaa kimawazo.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, ni saa 2:34 saa za kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Unayoitizama ni runinga ya KBC Channel 1, na vile vile pia unayoisikiliza ni idhaa unayoipenda KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, yani ni Good Morning Kenya. Upande wa pili ni Zinga, yupo kule mwenzangu Dora Manya, na studioni niko naye mchanganuzi wa masuala ya kiuchumi Bwana David Alulu. Mtazamaji, tunajaribu kuangalia, kutathmini, kudadavua kwa kiasi kidogo tu ripoti ambayo ilitolewa hapo jana na Kenya National Bureau of Statistics kuhusiana na uchumi wetu wa mwaka uliopita na hadi kufikia sasa tuko vipi. Mtazamaji, katika muda usomeza punje nitakuwa naruka upande wa pili wa studio, ambapo vile vile tutakukushirikisha wewe msikilizaji upige simu kuweza kuuliza maswali kuhusiana na ripoti hii. Lakini nikirudi kwako Bwana David Alulu, hii ripoti ambayo ilitolewa jana na KNBS inaonesha viwango vya uhalifu nchini Kenya vimeongezeka kwa 19%. Na hii inasemekana kwamba ni changamoto za maisha kuwa magumu. Sasa mtu akoradhi aibe aende apate chakula, akoradhi atie mtu ngeta achukue kile anachochukua aende akaibe. Sasa utafiti huu unaonyesha kuwa kesi takriban 1105 za uhalifu zimeripotiwa. Hii inahusianaje na masuala ya kiuchumi, Bwana David Alulu? Yaani kumaanisha uhalifu kizidi pia uchumi unapanda?
Well, ili swali nimekutana na rafiki yangu hapa nikiingia studioni.
Ndio.
Akanizungumzia. Akaniambia nchi fulani crime rate iko juu sana licha ya kuwa uchumi wao uko juu.
By the hata Afrika Kusini crime rate iko juu.
Kweli. Sasa wajua mwizi hawezi enda kuiba mahali hakuna kitu. Na ukiona mwizi anapitia kwa boma lako, kuna kitu ameona, labda hata ndizi tu ameona, hii ndizi nikiweza iba nitaenda niuze nipate kitu. Kwa hivyo inamaanisha kama crime rate ina increase, uchumi wetu kweli unakuwa. Yaani hawa watu wanajua kwamba ukiona huyu bwana anapita amevaa suti, kuna kitu amevaa kwa suti yake. So tukimshika tutamnyang'anya 1,000 tena tukakule. So kwa macho ya kawaida utaangalia, lakini crime rate inaletwa na nini? Crime rate inaletwa na ukosefu wa ajira. Wakati ambapo watu wamekosa matumaini, wamekosa vitu ambavyo vinaweza kuwasaidia kuweza kujitegemea kiuchumi. Na ndiposa unaona wakati ambapo serikali inajivunia kwamba uchumi unakuwa, nchi yote ambayo inajivunia uchumi ukuwa na watu wake bado wanang'ang'ana na hali ya maisha kuweza kupata chakula cha kila siku, hiyo nchi bado yuko kwa theater. Inafaa ifanywe operation nzuri, surgical operation ya kuweza kuitengeza mambo ilaini, kwa sababu hautakuwa unasema umenawiri kiuchumi na wananchi wako wanahangaika, hawana chakula, hawezi wakalipa gharama za maisha, hawezi wakalipa bima ya hospitali, yani wanang'ang'ana kuishi, wanavumilia kuishi, inakuwa ni vigumu sana. Kwa hivyo jambo la kwanza, ripoti hii ilizungumzia kwamba kazi nyingi, watu wengi ambao wanafaidika ama wanaona manufaa ya uchumi kukua ni wale watu ambao wanaajiriwa, lakini wale ambao wanapendwa kuwa wanaajiriwa wanapewa pesa kidogo. So unakuta mtu ndio ameajiriwa, lakini ile pesa ambazo anapata ni kidogo sana, haiwezi kumsimamisha kwa maisha ya kila siku. Kwa hivyo imefika kiwango ambacho taifa la Kenya, kwa sababu tunajivunia kwamba uchumi wetu unakuwa, pia wapeane heshima na hadhi kwa wale ambao wanafanya kazi kwa taifa la Kenya. Ili mimi nikiajiriwa na serikali, of course nitaajiri mlinzi, nitaajiri bawabu, nitaajiri mpishi nyumbani kwangu, nitaajiri mtu ambaye atanisaidia kutengeneza compound yangu iwe safi. So unapomwajiri Mkenya mmoja na umlipe mshahara mzuri, by extension unampatia nafasi ya kuajiri watu 3 ama 5 on average. Nikilima shamba langu ekari moja, nitaweza kuajiri watu kama 6 wanisaidia kufanya kazi kwenye ile shamba. So by extension mimi nimecreate environment ya kazi. Kwa hivyo manufaa ya nchi yataonekana tu wakati ambapo environment na mazingira ya kazi na wafanyabiashara haifanyi kuwa ngumu. Tunapozungumzia economy yetu kukua, pia tujue kama wafanyabiashara kule nje wanalalamika kwa sababu kuna vitu ambavyo serikali imeweza kuintroduce ambayo inafanya maisha ya wafanyikazi na wafanyabiashara wa kawaida kukua ngumu zaidi, kukua ya kutatanisha. Sasa hivi tunasikia kwa mfano KRA wameintroduce kitu kinaitwa e-teams, ambapo wanasema kama kuna biashara haina itakuwa deregistered, itakuwa suspended. So by all means wewe unataka kudiregister kampuni yangu mimi, lakini haujanikalisha chini unifunze, uniambie e-teams yako inafaa ioperate kuanzia kwa njia hii, ienda hapa na pale. Nipoza narudi pale mahali ambapo nilisema civic education inapokosekana, taifa litakuwa linafanya mistakes and errors every now and then, kwa sababu ndio tunataka ushuru, lakini nani atalipa ushuru kama wale ambao wanafaa kulipa ushuru wamenyimwa information ambayo itawasaidia kuweza kulipa ule ushuru? Rate of crime itapungua kwenye taifa letu wakati ambapo serikali itaweza kuwajibika na kusema wale ambao wanafanya kazi kwanza wapewe mazingira mazuri ya kazi, so that by extension nao pia wataweza kucreate nafasi za kazi kwa watu wengine ambao wako kule nje. Unajua tukisema kazi, nafasi za kazi, haimaanishi kila mtu aajiriwe na serikali. Kuna yule mtu wako kwa car wash, wakati ambapo mimi kazi yangu inanilipa vizuri, niko na gari, nitampelekea gari langu anioshe, na by extension yule mtu ako na kazi ya kufanya. Kwa hivyo mazingira ya kazi muhimu sana kwa ajili ya kupunguza the level of crime. Na jambo la mwisho ambalo linasababisha pia crime rate, kumekuwa na ubinafsi sana kwa serikali.
Ndio.
Utakuta kumekuwa na alama za watu kufikiria kwamba kama wewe hauko karibu sana na mwanasiasa fulani hauwezi ukapata opportunity. Na kwa sababu hiyo imefanya wale watu ambao hawako karibu na wanasiasa ama hawako karibu na serikali kutafuta mbinu mbadala ya kuweza kusukuma maisha yao kuendelea. Na kwa sababu opportunities ni kidogo, wale vijana wa mtaa ambao hawana kitu cha kufanya wanafikiria jinsi tu ya pekee ya kusurvive ni kuhakisha yule mama mboga ambaye alikuwa pale sokoni, akitoka sokoni jioni nikamata yeye nifinye nitoe shilingi 500 ili niende nyumbani hata mimi nipate kitu ya kula. Kwa hivyo serikali itoe siasa kwa maendeleo, ihakikisha kwamba kila mwananchi anapata manufaa ya uchumi kukomaa. Narudi kidogo tu kusema nimekuwa Afrika Kusini. Jambo ambalo limenishangaza, nimepata kule kuna nyumba serikali inajenga bure.
Ndio.
Inawapatia wananchi wake bure. So wananchi wanapata makazi wale kwenye slum dwellers na maeneo ya miundo msingi ya chini kidogo, sababu ni haki ya kila mwananchi kupata makazi. So tunapozungumza for example low housing hapa Kenya, na unakuta kwamba mtu ambaye anafaa kupata hiyo nyumba sio mwananchi wa chini, ni yule mtu ambaye ako na pesa, kwa sababu hiyo nyumba ikisha jengwa haupewi bure, unapewa kwa bei, wanaambiwa ni bei ya chini, lakini lazima utailipia
milioni. Ndio tunaambia bei ya chini.
By all means utarealize kwamba huyu mtu mnyonge wa chini atabaki kuwa mnyonge, na hii kitamsukuma, kitamsaidia baadaye atafikiria kuingia kwenye uhalifu. So mwisho wa siku serikali isipojipanga vizuri na iweze kuhakikisha kwamba kuna mambo ambayo tunatengeneza kama taifa, tutajikuta tunazungumzia figures ambazo ziko juu, lakini hapa chini watu ambao wanafaa kufeel wanaharibu uchumi, wana vandalize signage za barabara. Utakuta barabara zetu hazina road signages kwa sababu zimekuwa vandalized, watu wamechukua wamepeleka kuweza kuzima kwa scrap kwa sababu hawana tumaini lolote kwa maisha. The only thing wanaona ni kile kitu serikali imeweka pale, sema acha tupite na hii ndio tujiokoe nayo. Kwa hivyo serikali has a long way to go, na kwa hivi inabidi serikali jikakamue, jitume, ikae kwa boardroom wajiulize which are the areas we need to improve, na wakituruhusu tunaweza washauri pia, tuna mawazo kidogo.
Na mtazamaji, serikali ikiwaruhusu kina David Alulu itaweza kuwashauri, na najua kwamba pia serikali ina washauri wengi sana wa kiuchumi wa kina David ndi. Lakini mtazamaji, kabla ya kushika simu, vile vile pia sekta nyingine ambayo imeweza kuimarika kutokana na ripoti ya mwaka 2023 ya shirika la utafiti nchini KNBS ni sekta ya utalii, mtazamaji, ambapo wanasema kwamba wale wageni wa kimataifa ambao wamekuja humu nchini vile vile pia imekuwa kwa 35.4 ukilinganisha na mwaka wa 2022. Vile vile pia makongamano ya kimataifa ambayo yamefanyika humu nchini vile vile pia, mtazamaji, kulingana na ripoti hii yameongezeka kwa 9.0. Mtazamaji, vile vile pia hoteli zetu, vitanda vya kulala vimeweza kuimarika, hususan 53% ni Wakenya wanaoingia katika hoteli zetu za kifahari nchini na kuweza kuspende usiku wao mahali pale. Vile vile pia inasemekana kwamba swala jingine ambalo limekuwa ni swala la wageni kuweza kuzuru mbuga zetu za wanyama humu nchini, ambapo vile vile pia kutizama kama makavazi yetu ya kitaifa, kutizama nyoka, kutizama wanyama pori imeweza kuongezeka kwa 43.0. Hiyo tu ni sekta ya utalii. Lakini kwa hivi sasa ni saa 3 kasorobo, tuvuke upande wa pili wa studio Dora Manya, endapo natupata labda wananchi nao wanasemaje kuhusiana na ripoti hii.
Shukran Rashid na bwana David Alulu upande wa pili. Natumai kuna kitu ameleta kutoka Afrika Kusini. Msikilizaji na mtazamaji, nafasi ni yako, simu zako kwa ufupi zaidi, maswali yako ni yapi? Radio Taifa.
Dora Manya.
Yes.
Rashid Mamkondo. Nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu amenijalia nikawa nimeingia leo. Mimi nauliza huyo mgeni hapo studio. Mimi nimestuka mkisema milioni 200 ndizo zimetumika kwenda huko ng'ambo. Ati akasema Mkenya ni kumaliza Kenya tumeendelea. Lazindi, unajua Mkenya murarao yake kama sisi Wanjiku hapa chini. Hivi mvua imenyesha, imepomolewa, hatuna pa kukaa, alafu useme hiyo pesa italipwa na Mkenya mtoza ushuru kama mimi na mwingine, alafu ujigambe kwamba ati Kenya ni kumaanisha tumeendelea. Mimi nilikuwa natarajia atasema hiyo ndege ya kibinafsi ilitolewa kwa sababu ya ulinzi, maana unaona hizi ndege ndio zinatakiwa hizi za serikali. Akasema labda ameenda na hiyo kwa kusudi isije ikawa inaweza kutegwa, ingekuwa vizuri, lakini kusema ati Kenya imeendelea rasidi, ni kuumia na kuumwa.
Asante sana Mariam. Mwana Zinga Radio Taifa.
Bora kitu bora boy.
Safi.
Hili Daniel Ngoma. Kile nilisikia mkajili na Rashid walikuwa naongea. Kitu ya kwanza pia nimeona mambo ya chicken. Niende kwa kulima sana kama hii kutoa kere ama kutoa chicken. Jambo lingine nimeona kama hii mwezi mafuta inapanda kwa shilingi 10, lakini nilisikia jana imeshuka kwa bomba. Wani bomba inaweza kuwa imepandisha imeshukisha hiyo ya mafuta. Na hii ile ndio ninaona ushuru uko juu sana ambayo itaangamiza wananchi.
Asante sana Radio Taifa KBC. Poa sana.
Boyo hapa.
Yes, Boyo kutoka Kericho.
Niko Kinshasa bora. Katika hii kwenye hii wanaopinga sana wale wapinzani na wengine wachache wa serikali na wale wanaunga mkono. Sasa mwananchi wa kawaida elimu sasa wenye wako kwa serikali wanaunga mkono, wale wako upinzani wanapinga. Sasa inafaidi nani? Wa upinzani peke yake ama wote wa serikali?
Voyo kutoka Kericho mwisho umepotea, lakini swali lako limeeleweka. Swali moja hapa Radio Taifa. Samahani na kupoteza pale, tunaweza kushika simu nyingine moja. Hebu tuangalie katika mtandao pia. Kuna huyo anaitwa Joel Luvonga anasema kesi ni dhidi ya kukua na muamuzi ni kunguru hapa. Lazima tu hawa waonyeshe kwamba uchumi uko sawa. Tunafuatilia kutoka maeneo ya Malava, anasema muamuzi wa mambo haya basi ni kunguru. Radio Taifa.
Nora.
Yes.
Habari yako?
Salama sana.
Mimi nataka kuuliza watena wako kwa studio. Kwa nini naona Kenya nasema uchumi isha kuwa sawa. Mimi mwananchi ya chini kabisa nitakiwaje uchumi inaendelea mzuri? Kwa maana hakuna chochote naweza inanifaa nione ati hii ni uchumi inaimarika. Neno la pili. Kwa nini wawezi chukua watu wanafanya kwa serikali wale wako na mshahara minono waikate kidogo wa mtu wananchi waanze kula mshahara kama wako nyumbani kama huko Uingereza. Asante sana.
Asante. Unaitwa nani? Okay, kataweka kabla nipate jina lake. Niongeze simu moja.
Na moja tu kwa kifupi.
Radio Taifa.
Hello, Radio Taifa.
Yes.
Dora Manya.
Yes.
Bila shaka hapa ni Manyuri unaongea na Fundi. Swali langu ni kwamba ni kama wanasema ati uchumi Kenya unaimarika na kwa wananchi tunaona sisi wenyewe hatuna pesa. Na je, mbona hizi mishahara za hawa viongozi wetu zipunguzwe?
Okay. Kwako Rashid na bwana David Alulu azungumzia mambo ya mishahara pale.
Naam, Naba Alulu, tuanze na swali la 4 na la 5. Huyo mpigaji simu wa 4 anasema mnasema kwamba uchumi umeimarika, lakini yeye mwananchi wa chini hauhisi ule uchumi. Je, ni vipi? Na vile vile pia ametoa pendekezo, ipo haja mishahara ya wakubwa igawanywe wapatiwe wananchi kama taifa la Uingereza. Alafu huyu wa mwisho anasema kwamba kutoka Emmanuelia hawana pesa na mnasema uchumi umeimarika. Kivipi?
Najua naelewa kabisa hisia za huyu msikilizaji, kwa sababu wakati wote ambao wanazungumzia taifa ambalo limeendelea kuna vitu kadhaa ambavyo mwananchi angependa kuona kuweza kudhihirisha kwamba taifa uchumi umekuwa. Unisamehe sana natumia mfano Afrika Kusini kwa sababu nimeenda nikajionea vitu kadhaa.
Iko sawa kabisa.
Afrika Kusini ukienda hospitali haulipishwi chochote. Mtu anatibiwa hospitali nzuri na unahisi heshima wakati ambapo unaenda kwenye hizi hospitali. Shule, watoto wanasoma, hawalipi karo, lakini wanapata hadhi ya juu kwa sababu wanapata shule nzuri. Sasa sisi hapa kwetu Kenya, mambo ni tofauti sana. Wakati rais mstaafu hayati Kibaki aliingia kwenye uongozi mwaka 2003, alianzisha free primary education, ambapo kwa kiwango kikubwa ilisaidia sana transition ya watu ambao wanaingia shuleni, ikapiki kiwango kikubwa sana. Lakini sasa hivi tunavyozungumza, hata zile shule za msingi ambazo zafaa kuwa free of charge, leo hii hakuna shule Kenya hii utaenda upeleke mtoto wako bila kuitishwa pesa. Kwa hivyo unakuta kwamba mwananchi wa kawaida, mambo ambayo angetarajia aweze kubenefit ndani yake ili yamudhihirishie kwamba uchumi wa nchi unapanda, hayapo. Serikali inaahidi, inasema tunaenda kutoa capitation, lakini miezi 3 baadaye unasikia walimu wakuu bado wanalia hawajaipata pesa. Kwa hivyo ninataka kusimama na huyu mwananchi ambaye amezungumza sasa hivi na kuhimiza serikali. Mimi napenda serikali, mimi na support serikali, lakini ni vizuri pia serikali iambiwe ukweli kwamba utamu wa nchi yoyote ambayo imenufaika kiuchumi ni kuhakikisha kwamba services, tunaweza kosa kuwa kiwango cha kuwapatia watu pesa za bure, lakini services, huduma ambazo zinapeanwa kwa wananchi. Tukizungumzia elimu, tunaweza kuboresha elimu yetu, tuwe kwamba watoto wanapoenda kule shuleni wanapata huduma nzuri, walimu wanalipwa mishahara mizuri, ili wapende kazi yao na waweze kuwapatia wanafunzi huduma bora ambayo inafaa. Kwa sababu leo hii walimu wengi wameanza subject nyingine inaitwa remedios. Sasa kila shule leo hii walikuwa wanazungumzia wakati ilikuwa inaitwa tuition. Siku hizi wametoa hiyo, wanasema sasa ni remedios. So kila shule, kila mwanafunzi inafaa atoe pesa za remedios ndio walimu waweze kufeel motivated. So unajikuta kwamba zile pesa mimi nalipa za karo, bado inafaa niongeze pesa zingine za remedios ndio mwalimu aweze kuhisi vizuri, aweze kunifunzia. Haifai kuwa ndio jinsi ya kufanya mambo. Kwa hivyo serikali ijitume, serikali iwapatie wananchi huduma ambazo kwa kweli itafanya mwananchi wa kawaida atahisi kwamba serikali uchumi inakuwa. Watoto wasome, matibabu wapate, infrastructure, barabara zetu kama juu sasa mafuriko yamebomoa barabara karibu zote, serikali ije itengeze, ili mwananchi anapoona ukimwambia hizi ni pesa zako za ushuru zinafanya kazi, anajua kwa kweli nchi yangu imeendelea. Lakini jinsi mambo ilivyo, nadhani serikali ina kazi, ina kibarua cha kufanya.
Kuna huyu mmoja anaitwa Daniel Ngoma, alizungumzia kuhusiana na swala zima la mafuta. Anasema kwamba mafuta wanapo yakipanda yanapanda kwa kiwango kikubwa, lakini yakishuka yanashuka kwa kiwango kidogo. Sasa na haya mafuta ndo ambayo mlengwa zaidi Mkenya anayozungumzia. Sijui swali utazungumza vipi? Na vile vile pia kuna huyu Voyo ameuliza katika mswada wa kifedha, serikali inajipigia debe, upinzani inajipigia debe, mwananchi wa kawaida anafaidika vipi?
Nianzie hapo kwa finance bill. Nadhani ni wakati mwafaka wananchi waweze kuelewa wanasiasa ni wakina nani. Kwa sababu mwanasiasa mara nyingi atazungumza kitu ambacho wafuasi wake wanatamani kusikia. Na wanasema kila mwamba ngoma huvutia kwake. So utakuta yule ambaye anataka kumwangusha aliyoko ataenda aseme, wewe unajua huyu bwana Lulu mlimpatia nafasi lakini sasa hawatetei kule bungeni. Mimi tu naweza kuwatetea. So wananchi wakisikiza mambo ambayo yanasemwa na wanasiasa mara nyingi watapotea. So mimi ningehimiza na nishauri wananchi kwamba pateni muda wa kutosha kuweza kuelewa hii finance bill ni nini. Hasa zingatia mambo ambayo yanakuhusu directly. Kwa mfano kama ni kilimo, jaribu kupata ufahamu kilimo kinawekezwaje katika finance bill ambayo inazungumzia 2024. Unafaidikia wapi? Nini ambacho utahitaji kufanya ili ukaweze kubenefit kwenye kilimo moving forward kwa the next financial bill ambayo tutakuwa nayo. Bure tukisikiza mambo yanasema na wanasiasa, tutapotea, tutachanganyikiwa, mwisho wa siku tutabaki kusema finance bill ni mbaya, haitusaidii kama Wakenya, lakini hatujapata muda wa kusoma. Hii tabia kusema mwanasiasa akiwa amesoma kile chenye ataniambia nitakubali, mwisho wa siku utakuta umepotea, kwa sababu wanasiasa wengi wa hapa Kenya ni waongo. Wanasema mambo kwa sababu wanataka wafuasi wao wasikize kile ambacho wanasema, lakini mwisho wa siku hawana ukweli kwenye vinywa vyao. Gharama ya mafuta kupanda na kushuka, mara nyingi mimi napenda kusema ukweli. Tukubali kwamba tangu Januari serikali imekuwa ikijaribu sana kurejesha karibu kutoka juu ya 200 sasa iko chini ya 200. Kama wanashukisha kwa bei kidogo kidogo ama inafanya namna gani, naomba wanasema mgala muwe haki mpe. Serikali imefanya kazi yake na nina hakika kwamba bado ina nia ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba inaleta ile bei chini na itaweza kwa kiwango kile chochote kile. Unajua tukijifunza kwamba kila wakati tunalalamika, ina maana kwamba hata wakati kuna jambo zuri linafanyika hata wao iliona. Lakini hili la mafuta tulisema ukweli kwamba serikali imejibidiisha, imefanya kama jinsi ambavyo inafanya. Tunataka ifanye zaidi, lakini pia ndege inapopaa kwenda juu inaenda na nguvu mingi sana. Lakini ikirudi chini huwa ikuje na hiyo nguvu za kurudi chini, kwa sababu inaweza anguka chini kawawa watu. Kwa hivyo tukubali kwamba mwendo ambao serikali inaenda ni mwendo ambao labda itatusaidia kama watu tuvumilie, tuwapatie nafasi serikali wafanye kazi yao, alafu baadaye huwa mara nyingi wanasema hapa serikali na miaka 5. Baada ya miaka 5 kama tutaona serikali haijafanya kazi, tuna haki ya kidemokrasia na ya kikatiba kuwaondoa na kuleta wale ambao tunafikiri wanaweza tusaidia kuimarisha.
Mwelekezi wangu ananiambia tumalize, maswali ni mengi na pia vile wasikilizaji wana maswali chungu nzima. Swali la mwisho la Miriam kutoka Mbeere amesema kwamba umesema tukitumia milioni 200 na hii milioni 200 ni kukodi tu ndege ya kibinafsi, ukisema kwamba tumeimarika. Anasema mbona labda angalau usingesema swala la usalama, umesema tu kwamba pesa tunazo.
Pesa tunazo ni kweli. Na juzi tumesikia bungeni mjadala ukiwemo wa kuzungumzia kuweza kupata vyombo vizuri vya kusafiria vya kiusalama, sio tu ndege ya rais lakini ndege hata za kijeshi, za polisi, kando na mikosi ambazo zimetokea hivi punde ambayo ilihusika, kulikuwa maadili ambayo iligharimu maisha ya aliyokuwa CDF. Kulikuwa na mihadhara zingine, ajali zingine za ndege za polisi, za kijeshi ambazo zimekuwa zikianguka na zote zinasemekana ni kwa ajili ya technical issues. So ina maana kwamba vifaa vyetu vinahitaji kufanywa overhaul. So ninaamini kwamba kwa njia moja au nyingine kilichofanya serikali ifikiria kuweza kuchukua ndege ya kibinafsi labda ni kwa sababu ya kiusalama wa rais, vinye ule dada amesema, lakini pia hata kama ilikuwa ni ya kiusalama ama sio ya kiusalama, milioni 200 zimetumika. Na kama ni milioni 200 zimetumika, inamaanisha kulikuweko na hizo milioni 200 mali ambazo zilitoka, kama zilikopo ama zilichukuliwa wapi, lakini kuna mali zilitoka. Maana yake Kenya ni nchi ambayo iko na pesa. Tatizo ni kwamba wenye wanatumia zile pesa ni wachache. Wale ambao wanafaa kutumia kwa wingi, ambao ni sisi watu wa chini, hatupati hiyo nafasi, lakini pesa zipo.
Mwisho kabisa kabla kutoka hapa ndani ya studio, nimesema hii ripoti ni ndefu, mimi mwenyewe sijui kama nitaimaliza leo kurasa 500. Lakini unahisi kama umeipitia kidogo, unahisi ni sekta gani ambazo zimeonyesha ukuaji na nyingine zimeshuka? Nadhani kama jinsi ambavyo imeelezea, nadhani kumekuwa na ukuaji kwa sekta ya utalii. Wewe umesoma pale kwamba Wakenya wengi sasa wameweza kuenda kwenye utalii na wamelipa pesa kulala kwenye vyumba vya hoteli. So ina maana kwamba utalii sio tu wageni wanaokuja but even local tourists pia wame embrace hii sekta sana. Ukienda kwa SGR kwa mfano, weekend sio rahisi upate nafasi ya kwenda Mombasa ama kutoka Mombasa, kwa sababu weekend kwenda Mombasa alafu Jumapili jioni, Jumatatu kurudi, hautapata, sababu watu wanakuwa wame book to the capacity. So utalii nadhani umekuwa sana na serikali inafaa kuinvest more. Ni aibu kwa sababu at some point nilikuwa naongelesha kiongozi fulani ambaye anafanya kwa hiyo wizara ya utalii, akaniambia hawana pesa za kufanya civic education. So watu hawaelewi nini kinafanyika, lakini mwisho wa siku hii sekta ya utalii na kilimo nadhani inafanya vizuri, inafaa kuinvestiwa ndani zaidi. Bila shaka mtazamaji, kama tulivyokuambia hii ripoti ni ndefu sana, tutakujuza mengi, na miongoni mwa sekta ambazo vile pia zimeimarika ni sekta ya mawasiliano na teknolojia, ikimarika kwa kiwango cha 5.8 mtazamaji, na vile pia kupiga simu hapa nyumbani, yani domestic calls, kumeongezeka kwa 13.4 sawa na 88.8 dakika bilioni mtazamaji. Na vile pia masuala ya kuchukua pesa huku kupeleka kule mtazamaji, inasemekana kwamba kidogo kiwango hicho kimeweza kushuka, wale subscribers wameshuka mtazamaji. Anyway, yenyewe tuiachie hapo. Ni ripoti ambayo tutaifanyia kazi katika vipindi vyetu mbalimbali. Kuna kipindi cha matukio, kuna kipindi cha Newsline, kuna mambo chungu nzima tutakuwa tunaangalia ripoti. Basi kufikia hapa, ikiwa ni saa 3 bado dakika moja, sina budi kuwashukuru wote ambao wamefanikisha kipindi hiki. Asanteni sana wapiga picha wangu hapa ndani ya studio, mafundi wa mitambo wa sauti, upande wa redio, upande wa runinga. Asanteni sana waelekezi wangu na watayarishi wa kipindi hichi kwa leo, Dennis Kisaka na Nancy Kemunto. Jina langu naitwa Rashid Mwamkondo. Asante mwenzangu Dora Manya, na kuacha na mzee wa kazi Jona Ngare kwenu upande wa pili.
Because I am not the woman who will make you happy. I'm not that woman.
That if someday you finally understand that the one and only way for you to be happy is to be with me. Because I do love you, Fabiola.
With that document in my hands, I can expose him and his crimes in front of his family and the community. People will know that Olegario Montoya has everything here because of lies.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. But you see, my husband refused.
Prepare yourself, because Olegario will know who you are. I am not kidding, Malena.
You have to give me time to finally convince Olegario.
Who are you talking to? And why convince my father?
And where's she?
She is a he, and he is here.
What kind of a criminal do you think you are? A peddler?
Yeah, that's perfect, eh? Kinyanjui, the drug smuggler.
But Kinyanjui are a crook, and it is not only one mistake. It is several. In fact, innumerable.
Cynthia, that is the Lily Ngundu one. You what?
From that conversation on the economic survey report by my colleague Rashid, we now get to another segment, and that is the health segment. And today on health, as I had mentioned earlier on, we're going to be looking at dental health. We're going to be looking at diagnosis and treatment of common dental diseases or problems. And diving in on this conversation, or rather to help me dive in on this particular conversation, I have with me Christine Kawera Mbuba. She is an oral health officer. She's right here with us, and she's come with her tools. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I really appreciate to be here this morning so that we can talk about oral health. Yes.
All right, if you may just probably tell us where you work as we get into this conversation.
All right, as you've been told, my name is Christine Kawera Mbuba. I work with Elephant Dental Clinics based at Komarok branch at K-Mall. Thank you.
All right. When we talk about oral health, what exactly are we looking at, or what are we talking about in depth?
Thank you so much for that question, Vivian. First of all, let's get to understand what is oral, or the oral cavity. The oral cavity extends from the lips all the way to the throat, and in between there is a space, a cavity, and inside that cavity there are a number of structures. These structures are, for example, the teeth. We have the tongue. We have the gums, the bones that hold the teeth in place. We have the walls of the mouth. We call them the buccal space. We have the roof of the mouth, which is the palate, both the hand and the soft palate. We have the floor of the mouth where the tongue rests. Back there we have even the joint. You know, you see the lower jaw moves up and down. We have the joint where the lower jaw is attached to the rest of the cranial bones or the bones of the skull. Yes.
Right. So when we're talking about oral health, we're not just talking about the teeth, you know, because most of the times when people hear oral health, they just assume it's the teeth. As you've mentioned, it's a whole lot of things happening.
Yeah, it's not only the teeth, but together with those all those other structures inside there. So when talk of a good oral health is now having all those structures without any sickness, without any disease, without any blemish. Yes.
What are some of the most common health problems that people have?
Okay, there are a number of dental problems, and I don't think you can exhaust all of them in this program, but you're going to mention some and expound on the most common ones. First of all, we mentioned the dental caries or dental cavities. We have the gum diseases, we have bad breath, we have bleeding gums, we have sensitive teeth. Sometimes people have cracked teeth or bones in the mouth. We have receding gums, you know, root infections. We have enamel erosion, people suffering from dry mouth, teeth grinding, malaligned teeth. All those are diseases of the oral cavity, trauma, fractures because due to trauma, wounds, which you call the mouth sores, all those kind of things, Yes.
If you can touch on each one of them, bit by bit.
All right, I'll be happy to do that. First of all, we mentioned the most common dental problem, and that is the dental caries or cavities, or in other terms, a hole or wearing off of the tooth surface. Cavities are the most common dental problems, and they are the ones that cause people a lot of trouble. And we need to look first of all at how a cavity forms. All of us know the structure of our teeth. The tooth is divided in two parts. There is the crown part and the root part. The crown part is the one that is visible.
You can actually just hold it and explain it.
Yeah, the crown is the part that is normally visible in the oral cavity, and the root is hidden below the gum. And then below covering the crown, we have a layer called the enamel. It's known to be the hardest tissue in the whole body, more than the bones, more than the cartilages. Then below the enamel, we have the dentin, which is a little bit softer. And then beyond the enamel, we have now the pulp chamber. The pulp chamber has got blood vessels and nerves. It's like the living part of the tooth. And the pulp chamber extends from the crown area downwards to the root and then up to the bone surface. Yes, so now how do cavities form? This one needs to be understood very well, because we need to understand this so as to know how to prevent cavity formation.
Exactly.
Now, inside the oral cavity, we have so many bacteria. The bacteria are good bacteria, we call it the normal flora, that helps keep the oral cavity healthy, helps in digestion, also maintaining the pH and, you know, a healthy oral environment. These bacteria are many and they are good and they're important. And then what happens when we eat food, the sugary food tends to stick on the surface of the tooth. Once food sticks on the surface, now bacteria comes and rests on this layer of food particles. We call it the plaque. And when bacteria rest on this surface, it's resting there to feed on this sugary stuff. And like you know, bacteria is a living thing. Every living thing, once they eat, they also excrete. So these bacteria will feed on the sugary stuff. We call them the fermentable sugars, or the sweet things that we know. And then after feeding on this, they are going to excrete. And what they normally excrete is an acid. Now this acid works to erode the tooth surface. Gradually, the bacteria is able to perforate the enamel, then gets to the dentin area. The dentin is usually very soft, and they see it's also very sweet. So bacteria takes a good time to eat a very wide area inside the dentin. So one day when you're chewing food, you feel like you have chewed on your tooth, like the tooth has collapsed, and then a cavity forms. A cavity on the enamel surface has no symptoms. You'll be okay with it, you may not be aware that you have it. Only a dentist can detect it using the instrument that we normally use in the dental clinic. And then when the cavity gets to the dentin, at that time now, you start feeling sensitivity. When you take very cold or very hot food, or sometimes sweet thing or citric food, you realize that one particular tooth is detecting or sensing this change of temperature more than the others. It's because the dentin of that tooth is involved or is exposed. And now, if no intervention is done at that point, the bacteria continues to do their thing and perforates the dentin further and gets the pulp chamber. When it gets the pulp chamber, now these tooth start becoming painful even without reasons. And one of the most common symptoms is that when I go to sleep, that's when the tooth starts aching. This is because when you lie down, there's going to be increased flow of blood to the hand. And remember, the tooth is inside the head, like a part of one part of the hand. So when you lie down, more blood comes. Remember, inside the pulp is a blood vessel and a nerve. Yeah. So when you lie down, blood comes a lot, and then now there is pressure, because of course when bacteria get the pulp gets inflamed. Inflammation is like gets swollen, so the space is smaller. So when you lie down, you feel like the heart is beating inside the tooth. If you sit upright, you feel at relief. And lie down again, same thing happens. And then again, if nothing is done to that cavity, this infection goes down up to the bone. And that's the time now we get abscesses. Sometimes people even get swollen on the face, because now this cavity has progressed up the bone and an abscess forms. About the treatment, you can talk later. That's about dental cavities. And then now you need to keep that in mind so that you can know what you need to do to prevent them. The next most common dental problem is the gum diseases. Gum diseases are divided into three. We have the gingivitis. Okay, when you talk of the gingiva is just the gum. So when I talk of gingivitis, means the inflammation of the gums. That one is seen by you having red gums, bleeding when you brush and want to spit, you spit blood. Shows that now the gingiva is inflamed. If nothing is done to this problem, remember, the gingiva covers the tooth up to this point, the neck of the tooth. If nothing is done, this bacteria now progresses to go downwards towards the root of the tooth. Before we get to that point, let's say what happens in this case. Plaque again rests on the surface of the tooth. Then bacteria rests on this plaque. So, you know, when there is bacteria, the body senses and wants to fight it. And you know, the fighting agents are in the blood. So blood comes closer to the gum to try and fight this bacteria. So that's now when the gums become red and they bleed easily. And the tooth is held inside the bone by some things we call periodontal ligaments. So if no intervention is done when the gingiva is inflamed, now this infection starts going down to the periodontal ligaments, and the periodontal ligaments get overwhelmed. Once they get overwhelmed, the gum starts recessing downwards. The bone and the gum starts going downwards. We call it gum recession, therefore exposing the root surface. And remember, only the enamel surface is meant to get into contact with and first conditions of the oral cavity. So once the root surface is exposed, one might start to experience sensitivity, because now the root surface, which is covered with cementum, is exposed. If no intervention is done, this bacteria goes down, overwhelms the ligaments, and your tooth might even start wiggling or shaking and becoming mobile. For some people, the tooth may not become mobile, but it will move from one position to another. Someone who had very well aligned teeth start having overlapped teeth. Someone who had no gaps starts developing gaps in between the teeth. Someone who could close their mouth properly cannot close because the teeth are protruding outwards. And even in that position of closing the mouth, we find that maybe a tooth is being seen. Those are now effects of ANFAS, gum problems, the ones that have not been addressed. Yes, thank you. Okay, up to there we stop. We'll talk about the prevention, the treatment later. And then now there is the bad breath, very common. And something about bad breath is that the one who has the bad breath might be very innocent and not aware, but people living around them are the ones who get to feel this bad breath. So what causes the bad breath? Again, now we go back to the gum problem, first of all. when the bacteria is resting on that area of the tooth, forming the plaque and the tartar, you know that the bacteria produces a bad smell. When the mouth bleeds, that bland in the mouth contributes to the bad breath. Again, a cavity that has not been addressed is something rotten, smells bad. Sometimes you have bad breath not because of the whole environment, but it could come from other areas of the mouth, like the throat, the tonsillitis, or even the stomach, for people who have gastric problems. But anytime someone has a bad breath, first to be sent to a dentist, unless the dentist rules out the whole environment to be the culprit, and then they will refer that person to other disciplines. But most of the time, bad breath comes from the oral cavity. How to stop that, we are going to look at it later. We have sensitive teeth again. A tooth can be sensitive because it has a cavity. Okay, basically a tooth is sensitive because the dentin is exposed or the cementum, the root surface is exposed. So it could be due to a cavity, gum recession, cracks in the tooth, and many other factors. Then we have cracked or broken teeth. This can happen due to accidents, maybe during sports or a fall, or an accident, as you said. Then we have talked about receding gums, and you've discussed why it happens. We have root infections, we've addressed that. Enamel erosion can be caused by a number of things, and one of the main reasons is brushing the wrong way. If you use a very hand brush and then you apply a lot of force, you are likely to wear off the enamel surface.
So
Also,
for those people who go for hard brushes thinking that it does a better job in cleaning, that's wrong?
That's very wrong.
So what texture should your brush have?
It shouldn't be soft, comfortable even to scrubbing your skin. But when you go to the shops, they are labeled hand, medium, and soft. We advise people to go for the medium and the soft ones. Don't go for the hand ones. They will cause you more harm than good.
Yeah, and still on that, I've seen, you know, in the supermarkets, as you said, they're labeled. So for the ones labeled hard, most of the times it's written that it's for smokers. Why is that the reason? Why are they advised to use the harder ones? And as you're telling us, it's not proper for our teeth.
Okay, for smokers, you know, the smoke from the cigarette tends to stain the teeth. Okay, the ones who sell the toothbrushes are marketing. For me, as a dental practitioner, I'll not advise to go for a hand brush. If your teeth are stained because of cigarette smoking, go to the dental clinic and let it get addressed there using the right tools. But a very hand brush will cause you more harm, not only on the tooth surface, but also to the gum. It's going to irritate the gum, and the gum again is going to resent, exposing the root surface.
Yeah, so for the tooth surface, the hard brush, what does it do?
It causes abrasion and erodes the enamel, exposing the dentin, and therefore causing tooth sensitivity. Yes. Then there's another condition we mentioned, the dry mouth. Dry mouth can be caused by a number of things. You know, like people suffering, let's say, from cancer. After taking their medication or going through the treatment, they normally go through the radiotherapy, the chemotherapy. It can lead to a dry mouth. You know, a dry mouth is not good because we need saliva for the natural cleansing of our teeth. So if you have a dry mouth, you're more likely to have gum problems and also to have cavities in your mouth because there's not that natural cleansing of your teeth. Then you have...
Allow me to interrupt you a bit.
Okay,
so
Vivian.
maybe for someone who's watching and they're wondering, when you're talking about a dry mouth, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean that I don't have saliva in my mouth? Or
you have saliva, but very little, in very little amounts. Yes, so when you have that problem, can be treated, and the problem will go away. There are many other factors that can cause a dry mouth, including anxiety, you know, stress.
Anxiety can cause dry mouth?
Yes, yes. That's one of the signs of anxiety. Anxiety attacks, the first one get a very dry mouth. So if you're having anxiety for a long period of time, of course, you're going to experience the dry mouth. Then you have talked about the mouth sores. You call them the aphthous ulcers or canker sores. That's the white spot that happens in your mouth. And it's usually very, very painful. It's supposed to limit itself within 14 days. But of course, you can't wait for 14 days experiencing the pain. So you can get medication to alleviate the pain and maybe also make the healing period a little bit shorter. Then we have another problem called teeth grinding. You have maybe heard of someone say that my partner, when they sleep at night, I feel like they're crashing on something, they're grinding their teeth against each other. When you have that problem, after long last, you're going to have your teeth wear off on the surfaces.
Is that a habit that some people just pick, or someone does actually feel the urge to grind on their teeth?
In fact, when they grind it, they don't realize that they do it.
Okay.
Even they can argue and say, no, I don't, because they don't realize it. It's a reflex action that happens, and many times it can be due to stress. A stressed up person, when they go to sleep, that's one of the things that happens. After grinding your teeth at night, you're going to experience maybe a braced teeth, sensitive teeth, and also pain and headaches, pain of the TMJ. Remember the joint we talked about, where the lower jaw locks with the other bones? Yeah, it can cause pain of that joint and headaches. Yes, so yeah, I think that's how much we can talk about dental problem. There's another problem I want to mention. We call it the TMJ, the temporomandibular joint dislocation. The reason why I want to mention this problem is because it's rare, yes, and it's not known. So what happens, you might wake up in the morning, Vivian, and as you stretch, you yawn. After yawning very wide, the mouth fails to close back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What do you mean? Like you yawn and then you remain with your mouth,
you can't close it back.
open?
If you force it, there will be pain at the joint. That joint is normally near the ear.
Okay.
There is pain. You can't close your mouth. You can't swallow saliva. You can't swallow food. You can't talk. Saliva keeps falling out. The reason why I choose to mention this is because when it happens, especially in the remote areas, because of little information, people don't associate it with it being a medical problem. They will think maybe someone has cast a spell on you.
Oh, yeah.
They'll think maybe you gossip someone you're not supposed to gossip. They'll think maybe you're cursed. And then, of course, now when you reason like that, don't expect that person to go to a medical facility to seek help. Of course, they'll go now maybe to brain for, to people who remove spells. And the beautiful thing about this problem is that once you get the dislocation and then go to a dental facility, it is corrected very fast and very easily. But the longer you take before seeking help, the more difficult it becomes to correct. In fact, if you stay for too long, maybe 2 weeks without having addressed it, you might find yourself in theater, being treated through surgery.
And what causes that?
The cause is unknown.
Okay.
But you say, of course, it's when you open your mouth very wide excessively for some people. Maybe you can yawn.
When yawning, you need
you
to
can
watch.
yawn, you can sneeze, you can be vomiting, or even laughing.
Okay.
Many times it happens in the dental clinic when you tell the clients to open wide. For some people, it just talk. But now that one isn't, because after we are done, we just put it back.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
and it's common in women, about 40 years. At times it's associated with hormones. Yeah, that's another topic, a wind one. Yeah, but I felt it's going to mention that because what I have seen is that people get so frustrated. Even when they go to the chemist, they are given, those creams and sprays used to massage yourself when you have muscle aches, and they're not going to address it. So people buy time and waste time when they could have been helped very fast. So in case such a thing happens, someone that just tell them to go to a hospital and to a dental facility or dental department for that matter. Yes.
If you allow me, I would love to go back to the point where you said it's most common in women above 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something to do with hormones.
With the hormones.
As women and hormones.
Yeah.
But it's a rare case, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it can be treated, as you said.
It can very fast,
be treated
yes.
very
easily, yes.
Is there any other that you were to touch on before I get to my...
Maybe the other one is impacted teeth.
Okay.
Malaligned teeth. Impacted teeth are teeth that erupt on the wrong positions or on the wrong direction. Instead of a tooth erupting on an upward position, it erupts on a line. I don't know if this one can be captured, like an aligned position, and it's most common on the wisdom teeth or the very, very last teeth due to lack of space, enough space at the end of the jaws. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so all these can be corrected in the dental clinic or one can be treated for them. The impacted teeth cause a lot of pain. because what happens at times, it erupts a little bit and then goes back under the gum, and it goes back with maybe some food particles. Then that area gets infected and becomes very, very painful. So if you experience such a thing, just go to a dental clinic. The doctor will be able to do the right investigations and also to help you. Yes.
Okay.
And then for the malaligned teeth, it can be prevented if you normalize taking young children to the dentist. But if it happens again, it can be corrected through orthodontic treatment by an orthodontist. Yes.
So for the malaligned teeth, it cannot happen to a grown-up, to adults?
Okay, it can happen to adults because maybe of gum problems.
Okay.
But it's most common in children. What happens? You know, a child has two parents. For example, the mother has a small jaw and small teeth, father big jaw, big teeth. So if this child inherits the mother's jaw and the father's teeth, what happens? You realize that there's not enough space, for the teeth to fit in, so they end up overlapping. So if it's detected early, it's very easy to correct and prevent. But again, if it happens, you find yourself at 13, 15 years, or even older, it can still be corrected through orthodontic treatment.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Before we get to talk about the preventative measures to all these problems that you've touched on, there's one thing that is really it is kind of new, you know, I think to most people, where you say that, you know, stress actually does impact oral health. You know, when you were explaining, some of them you were mentioning it is out of stress, out of anxiety, you know, like the grinding of the teeth could be out of stress. And then you also talked about dry mouth also being caused by one being anxious, you know, having anxiety.
Yes.
I'm sure that is quite new, you know, to know that stress can also affect oral health. We never look at it that way.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for mentioning that. In fact, as you're saying, this will come to many people as a surprise. But yes, stress has a very huge impact on dental health or oral health. Especially in today's life, you know, stress is all over, anxiety is all over, depression is all over. Things are happening that people cannot avoid but become stressed. So, effect of stress to the oral cavity will include, first of all, bruxism, which is what you've mentioned, tooth grinding. A person who is stressed when they go to sleep, they tend to grind their teeth. And like we mentioned, the grinding might cause wearing off of the tooth surface, can cause gum pain, recessed gums, and also the pain of the TMJ or the temporomandibular joint can cause index and all that. Another thing that happens when we are stressed, we get what you call the aphthous ulcers or the mouth ulcers or the canker sores. This is because, of course, stress causes havoc into our immune system. And now when the immune system is impaired, it affects the gums. Therefore, the gums and the oral mucosa. The oral mucosa is now the walls, the whole environment of the oral cavity. It's lined by the oral mucosa. It causes stress, and even on the tongue surface. And then these sores tend to happen. Or can also cause inflammation of the gums. Yes, and the other thing, someone who is stressed will tend to develop some habits. And some of these habits are like biting of the nails. An anxious kid at school will keep biting the nails, biting on the biro.
Does biting on your nails affect your teeth?
Yes, it makes the teeth wear off because it's not soft. The nails are not soft. We call them the pernicious oral habits. It can cause the child to bite on, keep chewing on the biro, the lid of the biro. Others chew the collar of their clothes, belts, because of anxiety and stress. Someone who is stressed again might not be very careful about their oral hygiene. So you find that they are neglecting their oral hygiene, they're not cleaning their teeth properly and at the right time. And also when you're stressed, you tend to soothe yourself with snacks, and you normally go for sweet ones, biscuits, sweets, sundaes, to comfort yourself. And those ones are going to cause a very big problem to your dental health. So those are just some of the effects of stress to the oral cavity or oral health.
All right, now we'll take a short break. Don't you go too far, because when you come back, we'll
get to look at the preventative measures to all these problems that she has mentioned. I know that one of them is cleaning your teeth properly. So she'll be getting back to show us the right way to brush our teeth. Don't go too far. We'll be back in a bit.
Mpenzi mtazamaji wa runinga unayoipenda ya KBC Channel 1.
Over the years, we have been at the forefront of broadcast trends to bring you the best of news, entertainment, and sports. You have the power to take your favorite broadcaster to the top. KBC Channel 1 has been nominated in the TV Station of the Year category in the 7th edition of the Kuza ICT Awards.
Favorite TV station.
To vote for KBC via SMS, simply use the short code 15601 and follow the prompts at no cost. Or visit www.kuzaawards.co.ke and follow the registration instructions to vote. KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Mzee, wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, Christine, you had just mentioned all these common tooth problems that people get to experience.
Yeah.
Now, if we can get to the preventative measures, what do we do in order to avoid getting to that point where now I have a problem with my teeth?
Okay, thank you, Vivian. And now this is the mother of it all, preventive measures. First of all, before I go to that, let me say that there is a misconception out there that dental health is expensive, or dental care is expensive, and I want to disagree with that and say that dental care and dental health is not expensive, rather ignorance is. So if we are going to concentrate and take with a lot of seriousness preventive measures, we might find ourselves not even requiring to spend a coin on our dental health. The first preventive measure is the obvious one, observing a perfect oral hygiene standard. When I talk about a perfect oral hygiene standard, or high oral hygiene standard, we are talking about cleaning of our teeth and the entire oral cavity. We are supposed to brush our teeth at least twice a day. First one being early in the morning after breakfast, and late at night before going to sleep. We say that if you want to keep your teeth, brush at night. If you want to keep your friends, brush in the morning. That one I think is self-explanatory. While you're saying that at night when you sleep, and you close your mouth and sleep, you give the bacteria a very good environment to do its thing. So if you're going to sleep with food stuff in the mouth, the bacteria is going to take all the time to faint and excrete and erode your tooth surface. So you can forget any other time, but before going to sleep, most important. And when it comes to brushing, you have to brush and brush in the right way. You know, most of us brush, but you don't brush in the right way. We have to use the correct gadgets for that. A proper functional toothbrush. And also, people need to develop a habit of flossing. Flossing means cleaning in between the teeth.
So you have the gadgets with you, so you can just show us how to effectively floss and brush your teeth.
Thank you. First of all, we are supposed to floss before we brush. You got that? First, you need to floss before you brush. These are a sample of a human mouth. For flossing, you can use a floss like this one, which is very easy to use. It can access all the services of the interdental service, the services in between the teeth. These are a easier fashion. Traditionally, we run this kind of a floss where it's a thread. A thread that you just cut. And then you cut a reasonable length, tight on your fingers, and then this is the mouth. So what you do, you use these two fingers to push it in between the teeth. You know you have to sweep on the anterior and the posterior surface of each and every tooth. These are the gadgets that are very, very effective in cleaning in between the teeth. Another thing that you normally have is the interdental brushes. You see this one? Yeah, it's a tiny brush that is able to penetrate in between your teeth, removing plaque and all food particles. So after you have flossed, and you have maybe used your interdental brush.
Maybe you can just hold it so that people see how it is.
Looks like this. Yeah, you can get this from maybe dental clinics and some chemists. Yeah, you can even put the handle here to make it easy to hold. Yes.
So that is reusable as well?
Yes, it's reusable until the bristles wear off is when you can change it. And then now after you're done with the flossing and cleaning the interdental surfaces, remember cavities form mostly on the surface of the chewing surface of the molars, and number 2 is in between the teeth. So then after flossing, now you're going to start brushing your tooth.
Maybe before we get to the brushing, most of the times, most of us are used to using toothpicks. You know, after eating, most people use toothpicks. Are they advisable?
As an oral health officer, I would not recommend a toothpick because the toothpick is very thick and it's likely to expand the space in between the teeth. You know, it overwhelms the gum again and leaving a space, and food will tend to pack there, and a cavity is likely to form in between the teeth where you've been pushing the toothpick. Instead of the toothpick, you can use this floss as a thin point that you can use as a toothpick instead of using the wooden one.
Okay. Yes. Now we know toothpicks are not advisable.
They're not the best.
Yeah.
Even if you have to use, just cut it into a thin size and use it if you can't access these others.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to the brushing.
Good. Now, this is the best part of it. First of all, you must have a functional brush. A functional brush, by that I mean one that the bristles are straight. Yeah, you know they say that you have to change your brush after every 3 months, which is okay, good. But for some people, depending on the intensity of force that you use when brushing, for some people the bristles might start flaring even at 2 months. Someone else will be at 5 months with the same brush and the bristles are straight. So instead of maybe counting the months, just look at the bristles and see if they're straight. Then now you have to open your mouth. First of all, you have to have the brush, a toothpaste, and a glass of water. Then you have to open your mouth very wide. Okay, you can choose to maybe start brushing without opening very wide to target the visible side or the outer surfaces of your teeth. So in this case now, people will just want their brush like this, and then that is wrong because you're going to end up hurting the gums, and also it can cause the abrasion of the teeth like you mentioned earlier. So we advise you to tilt your brush at an angle of 45 degrees, for example, for the lower teeth.
For those who are asking what mathematics would do for them in life,
yes,
45 degrees. Do you know how that looks
very important here, like this. And then you imagine that you're brushing on the 3 teeth. Move gentle gently like this, then sweep up. You see? You know, we could talk of the circular motions, but at times it's not even very practical. So you can, like, you know, move forward and back like this, a little bit of the three teeth, then sweep. When you do this, you're going to achieve the hidden spaces and also the space below the gum, because there's a pocket between the gum and the tooth. You have to do that for all the teeth, upper and lower. And ensure that you give each and every quadrant or every quarter of the mouth, like this, enough time. You know, right-handed person will do this. You find that more cavities form on the left because they give more attention to the right side. So consciously brush every side equally. After you're done with the outer surface, we go to the inner surface. That one now you're going to use the upward sweeping motion for the teeth, both upper and the lower. Then now you go to the chewing surface. Now you can use, you know, you can do it faster now because, you know, there are no structures, the gums that you're trying to protect. Clean both the upper, lower until you're done. After you're done with the brushing now, pop your tongue out. Don't forget the tongue. Pop it out and then use the sweeping motion. Hold your brush. If you do like this, you feel like vomiting. So you hold the brush across and sweep out once until it's clean. Rinse your mouth, spit, and remember to rinse your brush also and store them appropriately. Yes.
How long? Is there a standard time on how long you should take
to
brush your teeth?
That's a very good question, Vivian. Okay, we say an average of between 2 minutes to 5 minutes. But this will depend again. Someone who is slow might take longer. Another one who is too fast can take even shorter time. But what I want to do consciously, you know, brush consciously and every tooth service until you achieve. Don't, because you can spend the 2 minutes brushing only one side, make sure that you achieve each and every tooth in the mouth. Yes, now after that, now we've talked about the hygiene, brushing properly, and the time to brush and how to brush. Once you do that, you are going to minimize formation of cavities and gum disease and other problems in the mouth. The second preventive measure is diet. Remember you said that bacteria feed on food. So what should you eat to protect your teeth? First of all, you need to eat a balanced diet rich in calcium and other minerals, vitamin C, you know, proteins, carbohydrates. But if possible, we need to minimize on sugary stuff because that's what causes a lot of problem to our teeth, especially for drinks. Most drinks are sweetened. So if you can be able to make water your favorite drink, you'll have really helped yourself when it comes to teeth. And again, like for example now, Vivian, I'm very sure you didn't carry your brush to work, but you're going to eat lunch. What are you going to do? Make sure you gargle with water to neutralize the concentration of the sugars in the food that you eat. Then when you want to snack, because again we can't deny the fact that sweet things are sweet, you can either choose to snack before a main meal or snack in the evening when you're going home, when you can brush immediately. The next and the last preventive measure is dental visit. It's advisable that you visit the dental or the dentist at least twice per year, just for routine dental checkups. Once you go there, the dentist is able to detect dental problems on very, very early stages. And like they say, prevention is better than cure, and it's also easy and cheaper. And a stitch in time saves 9. So let's normalize going to the dentist. I'd rather you go and be told that you're okay than stay at home and wait until pain wakes you up on the eve of Christmas Day when everybody has gone on holiday. Yeah, you understand what I mean? It's going to normalize going to the dentist every once or twice per year, at least for routine cleaning and also for checkup.
And as you had said earlier on, you know, some of these symptoms, they show up when it's already bad.
You're right.
You know, they don't just come up from the get-go.
You're right.
You know? So
you're right. And as I said at the beginning of these preventive measures is the notion that dental treatment is expensive. And I said it's not expensive, but ignorance is. You realize that the expensive procedures are the ones that you are recommended for when you go to it. For example, when you have a cavity which has gone up to the pulp chamber, it's when your dentist will recommend root canal treatment and maybe a crown after that. And now you end up seeing that dental procedure is expensive. Remember, you could have prevented that by observing the preventive measures. Yes.
All right. We still have more time, not too much time, but I guess we can talk about some of the functions of the teeth.
Yeah. Okay, there are three major functions of teeth. One is the one that you all know. You know, you ask people functions of teeth, they tell you chewing, grinding, tearing. That's called in one name called mastication or feeding. It helps us break food down into small parts, ready for digestion. Number two, teeth are very important in speaking or in speech. Vivian, just imagine if you didn't have two teeth here in front, would you be able to speak?
There's some words that you won't be
Yeah,
able
there's
to
some words you
pronounce.
cannot pronounce. You see that in small children when they share the milk teeth, they cannot pronounce most of the words. And again, teeth are important for our looks or our aesthetics. It's very important to have a beautiful smile. When we want to take selfies, all of us want to show those white structures. Vivian, if you didn't have a beautiful smile, I don't know if you could have garnered this job. Beauty.
Well, it's not really much about the beauty, but I get what you're saying.
Yes, yeah. And people who have no teeth, you know, they tend to develop an adaptation, smiling without showing their teeth and speaking without showing their teeth. Yeah, so, yeah, eating, beauty, and speech. Yes.
Okay. What are some of the misconceptions about dental health? I know you've talked about people assume that it is expensive. Are there other misconceptions?
There are very, very many. We can't exhaust all of them, Vivian.
Can just touch
but
on
I'll just
some of
mention a few of them around dental health. The first one is pregnant mothers should not visit a dentist.
Oh, there are people who say that?
Yeah, you know, they believe that when you go, you'll be extracted. I believe a pregnant mother should not be extracted. That's not true. Extraction is not the only procedure. If a pregnant mother has pain, they should go to a dentist and a qualified one for that matter. And the dentist will help you to be free from pain. Another misconception is that people say that tooth loss is genetic. You know, you try to explain to someone how cavities form and they're like, no, it runs in our family. Even my mother, my aunt lost their teeth, you know, like that. But it's not true. Genetics come in, but indirectly, but like maybe the pH in the oral cavity and maybe the size of the jaws and those kind of things. But all those things can be prevented through following the preventive measures we mentioned. People talk about, they say that brushing under cleans better. Again, we discussed that. It's not true. In fact, it ends up causing trouble. People say that you don't have to go to the dentist if you don't have a problem. Again, you prove that wrong. Other people say that they say that dental x-rays are dangerous. It's not true. They are very safe. And when we expect high levels of exposure, we give people protective gear to protect them from exposure to the x-rays. You don't have to go to the dentist if you don't have a problem. That's not true. You need to go without a problem. And so many other misconceptions, Vivian.
All right. I will allow you to give us your parting shot in just a minute.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. What I can say is that it is possible to enjoy a good oral health for everyone from all walks of life. That one is possible by observing the preventive measures that you mentioned earlier, like brushing your teeth the right way and at the right time, having the right diet, and also paying dental visits, maybe once or twice per year. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for opening our eyes on this particular conversation. Now, that was Christine Kawera Mbuba. She is an oral health officer, and I know for sure that you have gotten to learn so much from this particular conversation. And this is where we put a cap to today's Good Morning Kenya. On behalf of everyone who has participated to make this show a success, we want to wish you a lovely day. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Vivian Degwa. Goodbye.
For 60 years, the African Development Bank Group has played an integral part in Africa's socio-economic transformation. From the 27th to the 31st of May 2024, the African Development Bank Group will host its 2024 annual meetings at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, Kenya. This year's theme will be Africa's Transformation, the African Development Bank Group, and reform of the global financial architecture. The high-level meetings will be hosted by the President of Kenya, His Excellency Honorable Dr. William Ruto, and the President of the African Development Bank Group, Akinwumi Adesina, and will convene African leaders, development partners, private sector actors, civil society organizations, youth, among other stakeholders. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1.
Have you tried any of these generative AI programs where you give it a few words and it spits out an image? Now software is turning text prompts into video. It's super realistic, but also sometimes super dangerous. Think of an AI assistant that can perform multiple tasks. It answers an email for you, books you a doctor's appointment, and brews you a coffee when you're tired. Doesn't sound too bad to me. But these algorithms won't just be personal assistants. A fully autonomous AI could replace human workers in a number of fields, for example, in customer service or finance. But, as we all know from playing around with the likes of ChatGPT, no matter how well developed the algorithm, it can sometimes produce complete nonsense. And you may not even notice. So an AI model acting autonomously and making mistakes could put lives at risk. Take the medical field, for example. Imagine an AGI assisting with surgeries, diagnosis, or treatment. But if it gets something wrong without expert supervision, patients' health could be compromised. So we need to find ways to minimize the risks. And as we move closer to algorithms almost indistinguishable from humans, we might need to be rethinking our relationship with AI.